sport fans watching around the world. This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun.
Alright y'all, today's a Monday and Monday's off for Docs. Thank you for clicking or tapping, and let's start today's spew. But before I do, I have to say to my guest that before we start, I'll say something to you that I say to everyone that comes on, but I would not be saying it if it wasn't true. You're sitting here because I find you interesting. That's because you are an interesting person. I want to learn more about you, how you think and how you feel, and I love that I have the opportunity to be able to share this experience. So I really appreciate you coming over. Thank you for sitting down. And ladies and gentlemen listening, it's one of my favorite episodes because today's a day where we all get to make a new friend. I really look forward to these episodes. What I do know about my guest is just by checking out his Instagram, he competes in bodybuilding and he has built himself a physique that you look at when you're watching anime and you get pumped the fuck up to start going to the gym. So let's all go on this journey together and get to know about my guest. You've read the title. This is Nikita Parks.
Thanks for having me. Keen to get into it.
Yeah, good. First try, bro. I love it.
Sweet as.
Yeah. All right. As I said to you, I've got notes and shit. It's easy for me to look back on. Yeah. But the first question is the same question that I do like to ask everyone, and that's how do you feel in this exact moment, whether it's tired, hungry, excited, nervous, whatever it is.
It's a mixture of things, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm pretty exhausted from yesterday.
Yeah.
As I was saying before, just moved.
Yeah.
Finished the move at like about 2 o'clock in the morning. Me and my partner got into bed and we were just like, it was dead.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited. This is very new for me. I've never done anything like this.
Yeah.
It's always like, I don't know. I feel like for everyone, it's something everyone wants to do. You watch podcasts, you hear them all the time. You're like, fuck, I could be in a podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to actually, when, you reached out and you're like, oh, do you want to jump on? I was like, okay, cool. This is sick. And now I'm here and I'm like, this is awesome. This is a cool feling. I'm really excited, actually.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. You pumped me up now. It's cool. So you obviously listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite ones you listen to?
Oh, it jumps around. Like, I went through a huge phase of a lot of health podcasts, like getting into more the sciencey, really nitty gritty stuff of health and fitness and longevity. And then
Is that like along more plates, more dates, or like
more plates, more dates?
Dr.
Peter
Hume?
Tia.
Oh yeah.
Not I wouldn't say Joe Rogan. I didn't. Not really, but there was a couple other ones, and but then mainly, and then it sort of switched into I was listening to a lot of my favorite athletes. Like Matt Fraser. Do you know who Matt Fraser is?
No, I'm not
He's
sure.
a CrossFit athlete.
Okay.
I sort of got into CrossFit for a little bit, maybe half a year before the first lockdown.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and even though I'm not doing it anymore, he's like just awesome.
Yeah,
he's just a great
yeah.
athlete, and like I
Nice.
respect a lot of his hard work and sort of all that stuff. And then and then it sort of shifted into short stories, scary stories, thrillers, and stuff. Because in the second lockdown, everyone was in lockdown, but within the 15-kilometer radius, there was a Domino's.
Yeah.
And I just was like, one day I was just like, I'm gonna go apply.
Yeah.
Get myself out of the house, and I ended up doing delivery driving for about a year and a half.
Oh yeah.
And it was awesome, and that's all I would do. I would listen to like little short, scary podcasts. There was one that's called Dark. I can't. It'll come to me, but yeah.
I think I know the one you're thinking of, but I can't think of the name.
Scary
either.
Tales for Dark Nights. I'm pretty sure it's like that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Are they real or like make? Like,
so they're not real.
Okay, yeah.
They're not real, and then but
I could not listen to that shit, bro. I'm such a pussy when it comes to fucking horror. I can't even watch I haven't watched a single horror movie in 10 years.
See, I enjoy horror movies, like well produced, good horror movies, but I'm such a bitch. Like I'm such a little bitch. Like if I'm watching one, I'm fucking looking, I'm covering my eyes and stuff, trying to like not look at it. Like I know it's coming, but I enjoy like a good story. I'd probably say I'm more into thrillers.
Yeah.
To an extent. Yeah, probably thrillers. And then now it's just in terms of podcasts, like just everything. I like the shorter stories, like the thrillers and stuff. And then from time to time, I listen to a health podcast or an interview. But yeah, that's about as what it gets from me. What about yourself?
You ever tried and thanks for asking back. Most people don't ask back. I will answer you. But have you ever tried the true crime ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've listened to a couple of them, and like I've learned a lot
Yeah,
about
nice.
some really messed up people.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. Like I just like, I don't know what it is, but like in my mind, I think like I want to know why they are the way they are.
Yeah, the
and what sort
psychology
of like
behind it,
the
yeah.
levels or the steps that sort of caused it to get to where
Yeah.
it led to.
Like the nature versus nurture, you know what I mean? Were they
Oh,
born like
100%.
this, or were they like,
Yeah.
were they bred to be like this?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Like
Yeah.
I think it's a mix. I think for the ones like I've sort of listened to, and like me and my girlfriend, we sort of would watch it from time to time. Like I think the last one we watched on, actually it wasn't a podcast, but on Netflix, it was the Jefferey, the Dahmer series.
Oh yeah, the Dahmer, the mockumentary.
Yeah,
one?
the mockumentary.
Yeah.
And it was like the TV show, and it was just crazy. Like just this guy was nuts. Like this guy obviously had some deep psychological issues that was already embedded in him.
For sure.
But, you know, then you hear about his childhood and how he was raised and how he was in a split family, the parents were fighting, and curiosity, one thing led to another. It started off with dead animals.
Yeah, that's right.
Going from there and continuing on. And I don't know, I just think it's very interesting because, like, I think everyone's sort of a product of
Your environment, yeah.
environment and what you grow up with.
True.
And it's sort of like, it's almost like sort of sad to sort of, that these people, but then you're like, oh, there's also a side of them that's embedded in them already.
Yeah.
And there's no changing that.
Yeah, I know.
But then I guess I think like if the circumstances were different, would they have got to that?
Yeah, I
extent,
know. It's the ultimate question, bro. I love trying to figure it out too. I'm so interested in people's psychology and why they make the decisions. There's this one, we're on the topic of similar things. I couldn't even watch Jeffrey Dahmer, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not a massive homophobic type of person, right?
Yeah.
But I just can't watch it. Like, I'm all for people doing whatever they want to do, but there's just something about it. It's like, it reminded me of like Lil Nas X. You ever watch Lil Nas X video clips? It's too much for me, Like, I can't handle that.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And I think like I have no problem with people's sexuality or anything either, but it was just, I sort of get that same feeling when you see even like a normal crime story about someone who's like raped or killed people, and you hear some of these stories and it just gives you the shivers.
Yeah.
And like just hearing what he did to these poor blokes.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
It's nuts. Like,
it's crazy. Jeffrey Dahmer, I'm pretty familiar with his whole story, even without watching the TV series. But, like, there's one, and I was going to bring this up before, there's one Australian podcast host, and I think it's pronounced Gary Jubilin. I think that's how you say his name. He runs this channel called I Catch Killers. He used to be a police detective, and he'd just go investigate crazy scenes of murders and... he'd do drug investigations and all these other kind of things. And now he sits down with people all over the field.
Sorry, I was just putting my phone on my watch on Do Not Disturb. I kept getting messages and I was just like, I don't want to keep looking at this.
I got to put my phone on Do Not Disturb too, because when mine goes off, everything goes ding, 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 ding. So I got to do that in a second too.
Yeah.
But I Catch Killers is awesome because he sits down with ex-criminals and talks about the psychology as to why they made the decisions, what was their circumstances like. He did a really, really popular one with Spanion. You've seen Spanion on TikTok?
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
He did one with him. I'll put a link in the description for anyone who wants to listen to it because it's pretty awesome. He does run a good podcast. But the podcast I listen to, I'm opposite in a way. Joe Rogan's my main source of information.
Yeah.
I've gone and done a challenge I started in June last year of trying to listen to every single episode. And now I'm up to episode 360. By the time this comes out, in our time, it's 365. Hopefully by the time this comes out, I'm at 400. But there's 2,000 episodes I'm trying to get through. So it takes up most of my time.
They're long. They're like 2-3 hours long.
Yeah.
And when I said like I don't really listen to it, I don't not like him. There are a couple of episodes that I think are great and they're great. But I just this sounds so stupid, but like I like have such a short attention span that I need to sort of listen to something small. And I'm usually not. I can't really sit down and listen to something for 2-3 hours. I'd have to listen to it. But I'm just always on the move. In all honesty, man. Like I'm just probably maybe now that I'm not driving, but catching transport all over. But
the attention span I get, like, trust me, like I have a different kind of feel when it comes to listening to content anyway. Like I still have my favorite comedians. I listen to all their podcasts.
Yeah.
I have like your main ones, like your Theo Vons, Crystalias, your
Fuck, they're so funny.
Andrew Scholes. Yeah,
you like Bobby Lee?
I love Bobby Lee. Bad Friends is one of my favorite podcasts of all time.
Me and my brother are just like there's just so many times we just love his like the clips and stuff. We just watch it. It's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And we just quote them all the time at home. Me and my like middle brother, and oh fuck, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Dude, don't get me wrong, I pump those type of podcasts. I listen to heaps. I listen to the Full Send podcast, the Impulsive podcast, but
Yeah, the Impulsive podcast I really enjoy.
yeah, but when it comes to Joe Rogan, the main reason I actually feel like I'm so interested is I'm almost studying what it takes to become a successful host of a show, you know?
Yeah.
I'm really interested into the way people orchestrate conversations. Like
Yeah.
Joe Rogan is the main source of mine because he set the blueprint for the future generations.
100%.
So I have to, in order to be up there with the greatest, you have to study the greatest. So I'm pumped. I will get every single episode done.
Yeah. If you do, that guy I mentioned, Matt Fraser, he actually is on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay.
Check it out if you want. But
Yeah,
he's really cool.
How long ago was he on it? Like a while ago?
Maybe
Like
last year.
last year? I might have listened to it,
maybe.
to be honest.
It's either this year or last year. I can't remember. I mean, fuck. I still think this year.
2023,
So
yeah.
Either 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, because in our time, just let everyone know, it's still early January, but by the time this episode comes out, I've banked up quite a few, so it could be a couple months.
man,
but
far out.
I get the confusion. Yeah, sweet. I have to give a shout out to Kelvin because he organised this podcast for us. So I was curious as to how you knew Kelvin.
So this is a funny one because my dad actually asked this, and I've seen him around. He has a lot of mutuals that from the school I went to. He knew a lot of people, and I think I'd seen him around. Like I don't think we really knew of each other, but we'd sort of seen each other. And so I work in Marsden Park, so I work at Ikea, and I also work at Frangos.
Oh yeah.
So I picked up, like I was just working at Ikea, and I picked up Frangos, just extra money over the holidays while I'm not at uni. So just make some money and then go from there. And he works at the cafe just near it. So I walked down and I was like, I swear I've seen this guy before. Like I know him. And then we just sort of, I think we just made conversation one time, and then I was like, do you know? And I was sort of talking about schools and stuff. And then he was like, yeah. And it just clicked. And from there, we just, we got on really quickly. He's a really nice guy.
He's a legend. So shout out to Kelvin.
Shout out to Kelvin.
Yeah.
He's a top bloke.
Yeah.
Makes good coffee.
Yeah, he's a champion. He actually came on not too long ago, like in real time. It was probably only 10 days maybe even, or 12 days, something like that. So yeah, he's a champion. Love Kelvin. And how old are you?
I'm 23.
23, okay.
about you?
25.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
You could have passed as 25.
Yeah, that's
26.
what everyone says. It's always like, we'll touch on this later, but I'll just say it quickly. When I was in my comp prep for the comp, my face was so drained and so like, because I'd lost so much weight. Like if I shaved, I probably would have looked like I was 12 years old. So I'm like, I'm not shaving. Everyone's like, no, shave for when you go on stage. I'm like, no, I refuse. You will literally look at me and laugh. Like I hadn't shaved the entire prep. Like, I mean, I trimmed it, but like I never clean shave it. So, but so
I definitely do want to come back to this comp because it's like, it's probably the only thing I know about you properly by checking out your Instagram.
I've done a lot of things. I've played a lot of sports.
Yeah, nice.
But we'll get into that later. But my partner grew up around that area. She was in St. Clair.
Yeah.
She went to Emmaus.
Oh yeah.
Do you know many people from Emmaus?
I know off the top of my head, I know a few people. So I'll see.
Who do you
if
know?
I
Any names?
Yeah, I'll tell you. As I said, I won't put this in the
Yeah, that's
podcast
fine.
too. But off the top of my head,
Yeah, fuck, small world.
yeah, bro.
Fuck.
All right, we're back in the pod. It
Done.
is a small world. We literally know. I guarantee just from the list we talked about, we'd know another 20, 30 of the same people.
Most likely.
Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned a couple people too that I'm going to hit up to come do a podcast too.
Yeah,
but
fuck.
I will say shout out to the people we did mention, like Aiden and Sleazy, who have both come over and done podcasts in the past. So yeah, and for everyone listening, stay tuned. Sleazy's coming back on the podcast with Sohill as well, Sohill and Sohill. So stay tuned for that one. But you did mention quickly that working at IKEA and Frangos and Domino's. I'm curious, like, what other jobs have you had in the past?
Oh man, I've sort of worked all over. Like when I finished high school, I was like, I want to get out in the world. I've been at Rouse Hill, Stanhope, Blacktown area my whole life. And I sort of just wanted to explore. So the first thing I did, I got a job in the city. I worked at a gym in the city and Virgin Active. And
Great gym, that one. Fuck.
the one at Blythe, it was on Blythe Street. It just opened. sort of just like, sort of just saw it and I was like, fuck, all right, let's try it.
You know they have sleeping pods now? Did they have? They used
Yeah,
to
they have
that?
them at I think it's the Pitt Street one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking of
It's
then.
mad.
Yeah. That's crazy. You just go in, book in a 10-minute nap.
Yeah, but so I wanted to work in the city, and I just pretty much for no reason, just for exposure. Like I wanted to experience life. Like I sort of wanted to meet new people, and honestly, best decision I ever made. I met so many people. I made so many friends. I have friends all over the shop. That people that I've just met through working. Then I worked in Bondi for a little bit and worked in retail, and then I eventually was like, okay, I'm sick of sick of traveling so much. I do enjoy going out this way, but it was sort of taking a toll. I just couldn't. I just wasn't able to do much. Like my whole life was like an hour travel in, travel out, and like
an hour travel kills me. Bro. Kills me. Yeah.
It was hard, but I did it for a while. It was good. And then, now I was at Virgin Active for a bit at Norwest. That's why I met, some of those people. And then recently just joined at Ikea. It was nearby. It's like it's not near my new house, but like where my family lives in Glendenning. And then Frangos sort of, like I mentioned before, just sort of popped up. I was on work at Ikea Thursday, and I just sort of walked across. I was like, oh, Frangos is open. It's brand new. Yeah. Walked in. I was looking, and I'm thinking, at this time, it's just before Christmas. It's like maybe, a couple weeks before Christmas, and I'm just thinking, I need something to help me just, like, as a full-time student, working part-time, you're not getting paid that much.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, okay, what can I do? What can I do? I'm in line and I'm like, it's packed. And I go, what's the bet if I ask, they'll give me a shift or they'll give me some work? So I got up to the front, ordered my food, and I go, you guys hiring? Yeah. And they go, yeah, we need people. And they go, can you bring a resume? And I go, oh, I'm at work. Like, I can't really print out. Maybe I can come in. And then they're like, oh, yeah, maybe. I'm like, do I really need the resume? I'm like, look, I'm happy I can give you some details. And then he just goes, like, have you ever had Frangos?
Oh, I love Frangos, bro.
So the owner, like the guy that started the business was there, and he's just looking, he's like, you want to work? I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, come at 11. Gives me a fist bump. I came at 11 that week on the Saturday. Yeah. And he goes, just come at like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, cool. I left at 10:30 p.m. Yeah. I was under the impression that it was going to be like a quick 3-4 hour trial shift. No, I worked the entire shift. Yeah. Then I worked Sunday. Then I worked Monday. Then I worked Tuesday.
Wow.
And I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did, but I loved it. Yeah. The culture was cool. Everyone was really nice. I don't know what it is, but like something about the owners and the head people working stupid hours and being there by your side, it's quite motivating.
100%. They lead by example.
Exactly. One of the head guys, like he didn't start the business, but like he runs pretty much all the stores. He's there from open to close. Pretty much every store, like going between, or he's at because the Marsden Park had just opened, and he was there, and I was just like, fuck, this guy's really nice. Like, and he's like a hard worker. Yeah. And I got along really well with him, and sort of he like looked after me, and I was just like, you know what, like this is really good. So I'm probably going to keep both.
Nice.
I went in with the intention of just thinking, oh, maybe a couple weeks, get a couple money before me, and then if it gets too busy, it's casual. Like I just drop it off. Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I really like it. Like I really enjoy the people there. Everyone's really nice, but it's different. I go at IKEA, so at IKEA I plan people's kitchens. Yeah. So you want a kitchen? You come through me. We sit down, design it, purchase it. So it's pretty different. I've never done anything like that, but yeah. And then I'm working with like mums, like 40 to 50-year-old mums, 3 kids. It's maybe like 2 kids my age. Yeah. And then the rest are all mums. Then I go to Frangos and it's like 15, 16-year-olds. So it's a weird mix, but like I really enjoy it. Yeah. And so we'll see how things go with going to uni when I'm back at my semester. But for now, I'm going to try my best to work both.
Yeah, nice. So what is it that you do at uni?
I'm doing a double degree in exercise science and secondary education.
Okay.
So pretty much going to be a high school teacher.
Yeah.
But I also have...
Secondary education, does that mean high school?
Yeah. Yeah. So high school teaching, and so PE, like majoring PE and then also English. But also because I'm doing the double degree, I'll also get a degree in exercise science as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I sort of just wanted to do the high school teaching, but then I thought, you know what, like why not? Like even if it sort of gives me avenues when I finish, so that if I get in teaching, I'm like, not really my thing. Go into the exercise, sports science sort of realm and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fucking mad idea, bro. Well, I expect the hustle double. Did you call it a double major? Is that what you call
Double
it?
degree.
Double degree.
Yeah, it's
double
technically a
degree.
double degree.
Yeah.
But yeah,
'Cause
so
I'm not sure. I haven't been to uni yet. I haven't written it off. I actually do believe I will go through with uni probably around the age like 35. I think I'll probably go to uni, and because I enjoy the job I'm doing. I'm a refrigeration mechanic, but like I know that it's not a forever kind of job. I'm actually pretty keen to do probably 3 or 4 different careers throughout my life and just give everyone 10 years or so,
And why not?
Yeah, why
like
not?
at the same time, like one of my mindsets is like I'm gonna be working probably the rest of my life. I'll graduate, I'll be a teacher, I'll do, whatever that. But you know what? Like I'll be honest, I could have finished this degree a lot quicker. But I sort of took my time. I prioritized things that I wanted to do. I wanted to go travel. I wanted to go do things. I wanted to compete in bodybuilding. I wanted to compete in Olympic weightlifting. I like soccer when I was playing football,
Yeah.
So I don't know. And my mum, she kept getting frustrated with me. She's like, Nikita, why aren't you finishing? Why are you doing this? And I'm just like, Mama, I am in no rush.
Yeah.
But I've sort of at this point now where I'm just like, I just sort of want to get far enough that I can start casual teaching, then sort of just cruise it a little bit longer. Just because like I'm overstudying, but also like it's just, I don't know, I didn't want to miss out on things for the studying. I know some people are there 4 or 5 times a week and they get it, but like it's not really the life I wanted to live. I wanted to do things. I wanted to, be able to make some money, study, do what I want, still have a social life. It's hard, but if you have the people surrounding you that support you and understand, then what's to say you can't do anything?
Yeah, of course, bro. That's the bad thing about life is there is no rule book that you have to follow. You just have blueprints in which you can use as guidance in order to get to places are achievable. And I don't believe that you have to give everything 100% of your focus. Like if you're at uni, you don't have to just focus your whole life around uni. I just believe that while you're doing a certain task, you give that task 100% effort. Like personally, I could probably be at a position in the podcast alone, just for an example, that is in a bigger position than it's in now in terms of like subscribers, views, all the shit that I don't really pay too much attention to anyway. I could be at the next level, but I'm also doing other things at the same time. I'm trying to have healthy relationships, trying to have a career, I'm trying to do the podcast, trying to do all these things. If I picked one of the things, that one thing could be blooming. But like there's no harm and there's no shame in just splitting up your days and your priorities, you know what I mean?
100%. All in good time. I think that, obviously if you have something that you really want, go chase it, put all your focus into it. But if you're not, then, there's ways around it. There's ways you can do things. There's ways, if you're effective and you're planning, okay, I gotta do this, this and this. I think everything's achievable.
Yeah.
And I think in the last year competing in bodybuilding, studying full time, working part to full time, like it was hard, but like I did it, and I just sort of, would I do it again? No, I would not do it again. It was like it was hard, but I think moving forward, I could be a lot better with my planning and stuff. There was a lot of things I was like, I don't know, and usually uni would take that fall and be like, okay, I'm not gonna go to class today. I gotta go train. I gotta go do my cardio. I gotta make my meals. I gotta go work. Someone's dropped a shift at work. I'll pick that up.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, like, all right, that money's going to go towards my meals, or it's going to go towards my coaching, or supplements and stuff like that. So it's
hard balance, eh? But it's a mad balance, bro. That whole picture you painted for me right there is how I strive. Like I love pressure. I love having to work around the fact that there isn't enough time in the day, but let's figure it out a way. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I always try to have more time to do things, but I feel like I need to be pressed for time. I feel like I need to be like, okay, I have to do this. Go do this by this. I got to do this. And because it's just like, if I don't, I'll push it back and I keep going, no, I got time.
Yeah.
No time.
Yeah.
It's like uni time. It's like, if I know it's due in 5 weeks, I'm not starting.
I know.
I'm not fucking starting. I will wait until I will do other things that are more prominent in that moment
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
And then I get to that moment, I'm like, shit, all right, I got to get down to
Yeah.
it. And you just make it work.
I would like to get to a stage though. I'm with you. I'm that type of person, but I would like to get to a stage where I have a task and I achieve it as fast as possible. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's no difference in terms of time management because I'm still doing everything, but it's the list in which my priorities are in order, which aren't perfect. You know?
Yeah, okay.
If I did focus on this task, for example, as soon as it popped up, then if it's say for example, if it didn't have to get done for another month. I've got a month to leave it in the back of my head for what can be done extra instead of what needs to be done to start it. You know, like it's funny how like everyone knows what needs to do, but no one
Of course,
fucking
everyone
does it.
knows, but it's I guess it's a matter of priority and, you know, the willingness to sort of get it done.
Yeah.
Which is fucking hard sometimes.
Yeah, I'm the same, bro. When I've got a deadline, it's getting done, but it's like I'm up till fucking 11 p.m. on a Sunday, every Sunday, getting my edit done. Like,
Yeah.
I've got work at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night, for example, and like I've been awake since Saturday getting all the fucking videos pressed so it can come out Monday morning, you know? Like I love it, but I love it. I wouldn't change it.
It's a good feeling. It's an accomplished feeling.
Yeah.
Like I give an example. Like I've been working so much, and like so is my partner. And the last couple of weeks we've just been flat out, and we've been trying to start packing and stuff, but we've just been so tired. So pretty much, she had to sort of move some things because I was like, I wish I was just working so much, and it was hard to like actually be there to like help me move some of the stuff in the initial phase, but. Like, I hope I made it up to her. Like, the last 2 days I have been up since, I think I got up at like 7 a.m. Started cleaning the entire house, moving everything pretty much like the stuff like the fridge, the washing machine and the couch, I think we had people, like other people, my family, her dad, to help bring it down and then take it out. But everything else I pretty much did.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I'm not gonna take all the credit. Like my partner also, like, I think she took her bed down.
Good save.
Her bed down, her bed frame, the TV, and a bunch of like other stuff. But there's all the little things. I was just going back up the stairs. Like yesterday, I did like 60 flights of stairs, 25,000 steps.
Yeah, nice.
And I was fucked. Like, but like
Dude,
the last 2
moving
days,
sucks, bro.
and and my work doesn't see this, but like, on the Wednesday, I was like, I need to. If I didn't call in sick work and stay and help clean, we would have been fucked. Like there was no way. Yesterday was the last day. Today she had to hand in the keys.
Wow.
So we had to get it done.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we're both stressed. The last couple of weeks has been rough. We've just been so stressed, both of us.
Yeah.
We're working, tired, but then also thinking in the back of our head, fuck, we need to move out of this house, you know?
I know.
So,
oh, bro,
but
I'm so bad. I've moved so many times in my life. I've probably moved 15 times to 20, maybe up to 20, no more than that, but I'd say 15 comfortably. And I just don't do shit, bro, until like
the last minute,
10 hours before I'm out the door, bro. Like, but now I've got it down packed. Like,
that's good.
I don't keep too much shit ananymore.
Yeah.
Like, and like
Very like minimalistic.
Yeah, I'm very minimalistic.
Because, you know, like, I like that though. I like that you can sort of see, me and my partner, we're very different. She hates change. I embrace it.
Yeah.
And she's slowly learning to embrace it. Like, even yesterday, we're on the drive to the house at Marrickville, and I go, "Are you excited?" She goes, "Yeah, well, I'm scared." She's like, change scares me. And I'm just like, I just had to, like, you know, held her hand. I just said, I was like, you know, try not to think about the negative things that might come with the move, but think about the positive. Think about the opportunities that's going to come. Think about all the brand new life in the inner west we're going to have.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, like, I know it's hard for her.
Yeah.
And she's had a bit of a rough time with houses and moving and stuff like that. So we wanted to make it was, the last couple of weeks were a bit stressful for us. And I was just like, we just haven't had time to do anything for us either.
Yeah.
And we're like bickering at each other, and we're just like,
Yeah.
you know? And I just said to her, I was like, tonight, like, we're going to go out for dinner. We're going to go something nice. And then we're going to continue this, because the little things that we're not too flashy. We don't really go out for big dinners and splash money. We enjoy the little things. Going for a walk every morning, getting coffee together, training together, going for food places and stuff like that. It gets hard sometimes because we both competed in bodybuilding in the same year.
Yeah.
So she prepped, super strict, couldn't cheat, where I was putting on size, trying to get bigger, and then it flipped.
Yeah.
Then she was
right.
not following anything. She's going on holiday with her cousins to Europe, and then I'm strict.
Yeah.
So we've been together for about just over a year and a half, almost 2 years. And for a year of it, we were both in strict diets.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
So, but it sounds shit, but at the same time, it made us appreciate the moments that we got to sit and eat together. Or we got to, one of our favorite things, we just sit at home and eat.
Yeah.
We'd cook dinner together, put a movie on, put some music on, have a drink, and just enjoy. So I'm excited to do that, get back into that with her in the next month or two.
Of course. Well, now these are all settled in, new place. Like, I personally, I don't find much enjoyment in things, and I'm trying to work on it with my partner and myself, where I was actually having a conversation with her last night where, I don't ever feel present, ever, and it's one thing I'm learning through being with her is how to be present, because we have a lot of moments that are very presentful to make, we laugh a lot of shit and stuff like that. And my life's just mission after mission. My life is as soon as I get there, if I'm going to hers or we come here, whatever it is, I'm putting on the next thing to watch, to consume, to learn, to grow, to entertain. I'm always, as soon as that's done, I'm getting up and I'm going to do the backyard. I'm going to clean something. I'm always on the move, and she's very good at organizing her priorities so she can get done what needs to get done, and then she's happy to just sit down and talk. And it's I just struggle with that moment because it's I don't know. I don't feel like I'm wasting time because I'm enjoying my time, but my mind's still constantly going what's the next thing we need to do? What do we need to do?
So we're flipped. My partner's like you. The only reason she sort of stops is because she's so tired. She'll fall asleep. Other than that, she works so hard. It's something I admire about her so much. She just I'm in the process of trying to develop that work habit. She's worked 2 to 3 jobs her entire life.
Wow.
She's a hard worker. And it's something that I have grown to appreciate it, and then not, when it's we can't we couldn't do things because she was working or had things. I was just instead of seeing the end being why can't you spend time with me? I'm just no, go do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do, and I'll be here when you're ready.
Yeah, a relationship needs both. Hey, it's a good dynamic that you two must have, because I notice it in my relationship, because it's good to have each other to bounce off the ideas of when to sit down, when to get up, when to go forward, when to look back. It's awesome. I think it's so important, and it's actually I actually did write down a few things that I was going to get at later when it comes to being in a relationship. But before I go on to the next thing, I'd like to get at if you're studying at the moment in secondary teaching and physical science,
Exercise science.
Exercise science.
Same thing.
Yeah, sweet. If the job leading towards this is to become a sports teacher, what's the dream job? Is that the dream job? Is that what you're studying for? And I'm not taking credit. I think it's a great job to be in. I'm just curious, if that's your end goal when it comes to career.
Do you know what? I've always... Look, if you were to ask me what my goal was, to be a professional footballer.
Yeah, okay.
That was my goal. But
football's in soccer, or football's in rugby.
Soccer, yeah.
Okay.
I gave up on that. I don't know. I just got to a point. I got burnt out, and my brothers are doing so well right now. Do you know much about soccer in
I know
Australia?
nothing, but I'm happy to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they both play really, really high level. They're so young, and I just sort of I don't know. My last season had finished, and my dad's like, "Do you want to play?" I'm the firstborn too, so my dad and mum are like, "Oh, you gotta play, you gotta play." And I just said, "No,
Yeah.
I don't want to play. I want to take a break." And they're like, "Are you sure?" No, just come back. And they were still hopeful. They're probably still hopeful to this day that I'm going to come back and play. But it's just not for me. I love football, and I wish I had the potential to possibly make it, but I just didn't. I'd rather see my brothers do it.
Yeah.
I'm interested in other things right now. I love experiencing things, trying new things, and one thing you'll learn about me as we keep talking is that I like I said, I love to try new things, whether that be in sport or foods or coffee or music's, everything.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, I just wanted to be there to support them. I never got to watch them growing up. I was always at my games.
Yeah, okay.
And when I did, it was like it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
You're like, you're seeing your little brother's doing so well. It's like my youngest brother, he plays for Central Coast Mariners, so the A-League team, and he got the opportunity to with the A-League team. He was warming up with them on the game and stuff like that, and I was just like, I was just like so proud of him.
Yeah.
And then my middle brother, he's playing first grade at RPR Leichhardt, another really good team. They've just been promoted. And like he's starting and stuff and he's doing so well. He's so young and they're earning money and I'm just like,
Wow.
they're like, when I was that age, that's what I wished for. Like that's what I wanted. But I just didn't get the opportunity. And to see them going through it, like I'll do whatever it takes. Like my youngest brother, he's 17, so he doesn't drive yet. Countless times I've driven both of them to Central Coast morning, multiple days, multiple weeks. And
Yeah,
shout out to
that's
my
cool.
family because they do the same too. But I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
Like if you would ask me, would I go back and change and keep playing? I'd say no. I'd keep it the same.
Yeah, cool.
Keep it the same. Maybe I'd change other things, but that in terms of supporting them wouldn't change.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. That's one thing about being an older brother in particular. I'm sure it's very similar for an older sister, but just being an older sibling in general
Yeah.
is the level of pride you get in like watching a younger family member do good.
Yeah.
It must be very similar to parenting in a way. Like it's
100%.
like it's strange that that feeling even exists. I'm very interested in the way that the human brain works and in forms of emotions. And like I can't figure out why the fuck that exists. You know, why watching someone else do good does it make you feel good? It must have to do with energy and
I think it's also
shared feelings and shit.
Yeah, I also think it's the way you're raised. I think my parents, like, shout out to my parents too. Like, they did an amazing job. We had a bit of I wouldn't say struggled growing up, like, but financially we're not very great. And there were some really tough times for my family. And, you know, like my mum and dad not sheltered us. It was, we could tell, you know, but like, they did what they can. They made sure we never missed out on birthday gifts, you know, or things. But there were times like where we had no money, and my mom was like freaking out and just crying, and to me and my sister, and I forget about it. But then sometimes I think and I go, fuck, like yeah, they've done, and now they're doing so well for themselves. They bought a house. They're both earning 6 figures, and it's just like I'm really proud of them too. But
yeah, it's funny, being a kid, dude. I talk about this a little bit on the podcast and not taking the full grateful feeling that you get when you're an adult where you don't understand, you know,
you don't.
And that's thanks to the parents. Like that whole feeling that we never had of feeling guilty, feeling worried about their financial circumstances and all these things. And because you always had dinner, you always had Christmas, you always had birthdays, you always had all these things. And like you played sport and things like that would have all cost money. And same with my siblings, like everyone got what they needed, which felt like we got everything we wanted, and that is a gift our parents gave us, not just the circumstance but the headspace to like we deal with the problems. You just be young, you know, and that's really, I'm so grateful for my parents. Like don't get me, like I talk about it all the time. Like I'm very similar. We never had unlimited spendings, nothing similar at all. Like we had just enough for birthday presents, but as a kid you never have to think about any of the problems because the parents do such a fucking good job. And you're right, because you related that to in a sense where it's like, why do you feel so proud of a younger sibling? And it's because your parents you probably got to experience subconsciously your parents feeling joy in watching you guys do well. Yeah, and that's just imprinted, you know?
100%. I think like I said and you said, the way, you know, each of us were raised. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I know everyone's not like that though. I've met a lot of people who can be very jealous of siblings, cousins. I don't know. I'd never crossed my mind.
I wonder why.
Even my sister, she's so I'm one of 4.
Okay.
So my sister's a year younger than me. Younger sibling. She's got a full-time job. She works from home. She's doing really well for herself. She's earning more money than me. I'm still studying, but she never tell her this, but like she's such a hard worker. She's
Yeah.
so switched on. She just numbers. She's very quick problem solving, quick, and she just worked hard. She worked her way up in Centrelink in lockdown. She's got the opportunity, and then went into a HR role, and then worked up from there.
Wow.
She's not that smart, and I'm not saying like to put her down, but she's not that book smart. But problem solving, she just knows what to do.
Yeah.
She works hard and she'll figure it out. Like she worked from home. She would start at 8 a.m. and finish at 4 p.m. She'd finish all her work within 2 hours and just chill.
Wow.
And she just like, I don't know how she just would, she's like, oh, I just got through it easy. And I'm just like, how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah.
She's doing so much more. But like, I never have thought, oh, fuck, like, why does she have more money than me? Why is she, one, she worked for it. Two, we're on different paths.
Yeah.
She's studying part-time online. She's not like, but she's in this career. She's gotten very, very lucky and she's worked very hard for it. And I honestly, like, I have nothing but admiration for her.
It's crazy, like, it's just the fact that you bring up different paths. I look at life almost like everyone has the same story if you're going to take out the chronological order in which situations happen. Mm. But if everyone has the same mindset, whether it's spread out across your whole life or whether you learn it in different stages of hardworking, experiencing friendships, going out there, experiencing the world, like giving everything 100%, finding love, getting married, having kids, like everyone's always got the same story. It's just spread up into different segments, and each person's path is just a different order in which things get done. So everyone's gonna, not everyone, because obviously circumstances come into play with tragedy and then bad decisions and all these things. But as long as everyone sticks to the blueprints, and you're not one of the unfortunate people, then everyone's gonna have the same end result and story to look back on, just on different time lengths. That's all a path is at the end of the day. It's just an order in which things are getting done, which is pretty cool.
100%. I think, your life is what you make of it. And like, it's such a cliche saying, but it's so true. Like, I've changed and tried and done so many things just because I can.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, why don't you stick to it? I'm like, I don't know. Just, I like to. But like, in terms of sport, like I've tried a lot of things, but I think I've very much found something I'll do probably for the rest of my life. I really enjoy it. Probably not maybe competing for the rest of my life, but definitely just bodybuilding. So fun.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Let's get into bodybuilding. So let's start from the beginning and all about like when you first got into the gym itself.
Yeah.
You did mention that you played sport growing up, soccer, for example, or football, as you like to call it. Is that the only experience you had in terms of fitness, playing soccer before the gym?
Yeah. Oh, so I played soccer from how old was I? Like 4 or 5 years old to about 20. So that was my everything. Like my dad's a huge football fan. Do you know what? Like my mum's not really that into football, but she's athletic. Both my parents are extremely athletic. So if it wasn't football, it was something else. We're always doing something.
Yeah.
But football was like, not pressured, but like you should choose it.
Expected.
Yeah. And I, growing up, had no interest. I was the firstborn, and my dad was trying to push me to do it. And he sort of just got to a point, he was just like, I'm going to let him, and he'll come to it. And I did. I sort of just was happy hanging with friends and playing when I was little. And then eventually, I think around 11 or 12, something just clicked, and I just picked it up, and I just went, boom.
Yeah, no.
It was I naturally got it, and it naturally was there. I just wanted my goals, and I wanted to sort of achieve it and chase it a bit. And so
I've got to take a quick pause here. In this, I like to take a quick pause every time something sparks my interest, or I will lose it. But I'm just assuming when your parents first had you, were they at a stage in their life of good physical condition, and did your dad play soccer around that time of his life?
Yeah, my dad's always played football. I think it sort of stopped a bit with work, and like they were young when they had. I wasn't playing so I came as a surprise, and so I think they were still partying and stuff like that, smoking, drinking, and then when I came, my mum found out, she just pregnant me, just stopped straight away. So Dad took a little bit longer. So
so did my dad.
My mum always says, but
so did my dad, dude. Trust me. What I was getting at is because there's a theory at the moment that's surfacing a lot too. It hasn't got too much science yet behind it, but I believe the science will catch up and they'll prove it.
Yeah.
And it's the point in which conception is made and the physical condition people are in is usually how the kids will turn out as they start to form their first early adolescence, you know, from like say 13 to 19, 20, 21. That period in their life is because of how they were either at the same period or at a time just in their life just before they had kids, which is awesome in terms of physical, like physicalness and how you are with your health. But I kind of believe it also goes into play with mental health, and I believe your emotional health, spiritual health. It's funny, but things pass on through genetics and DNA, you know, to the next generation, and it makes sense 100% why it just clicked on. And it actually, I don't think, and that's the same conversation as before, nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
I don't think it was because you were pushed into doing it by your dad wanting to do it. I think it must have, honestly, in my opinion, been a genetic thing, you know, inside your body.
Definitely. I think, I mean, even if it wasn't football, I think I would have picked something up.
Yeah.
But, no, I agree. I think so. It has a huge part to play in it. If you don't come from a very physical, there's no way you're not going to really pick it up.
Nah.
So, but, so played soccer, got in, stops, actually, so I'll just briefly touch on this. But, like, I was in a relationship from 17 to about 20. Yeah. And it was my first proper relationship. It wasn't very good, very toxic on her end. And I sort of put up with it, but like, regardless of that.
Been there, bro.
Yeah, been there. Yeah, you know. And so I ended it. And I don't like to say that it's the reason. It's part the reason, but I resented playing football because I was sort of feeling like I wanted to get out of it and I wanted to try something new and like support my brothers and stuff like that. But she was just like, no, stay. Don't do it. You got to do this. You got to do this. And just started telling me what I want, like what I should do. And I'm like,
yeah,
who are you to tell me what I should do?
Yeah.
And that when the relationship ended, I changed a lot of things. I changed my uni degree. I was actually studying to be a chiro originally.
Okay.
I was like, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I stopped football, and then I got into CrossFit sort of type thing. And then, and I changed. That was like the beginning. It was like, it was like a awakening moment for me. Like that was where I knew my life was beginning.
Yeah, no.
I'd finished high school. I'd been in this toxic relationship for a while, and then a year after high school, and I just like as soon as that ended, and I started to experience the world. I had never been drunk.
Yeah, wow.
First time I got drunk was 20.
Wow.
Never done any. Never
First
been
time I got drunk, I think I was 12.
Yeah, like I just. Yeah.
I got my brother drunk when he was like.
Fuck, that's funny.
10, bro. It was so fucked up. But anyway, it's a different story.
Yeah. Just never sort of like she just was like, no, you're not allowed. There's a lot of control. And I just was like, I didn't know any better. I didn't know what a relationship was like. So I was like, okay, well, this must be normal.
Yeah.
And so changed a lot of things. It was like in a way, it was like a step into a new sort of what I knew would be a lot better for me. And it was. And it's only gone up from there. Yeah, you have your down moments here and there. But like if I didn't leave that relationship when I did, I don't know where I would have been. I don't know what I'd be doing.
Yeah, fair.
Probably doing something I didn't like with someone I didn't want to be with.
So then you got into CrossFit shortly after that. And then how did that end up forming into the
So the only reason CrossFit stopped was because of lockdown. And I was just like, well, I want to train. So I bought all these like barbells and weights and stuff for like my backyard. I built like a platform and like at the back of my house so I could train. And I was just like, can't really do anything. So I just like start, because in CrossFit you do the Olympic lifts, the snatch and the clean. Do you know much about that?
Yeah.
Snatch and the clean and jerk and stuff. So then I was just doing that, and then I just stayed and I just got into that, and then I made friends with people who were really good at it, and I ended up getting coached by them, and I was just like, I really enjoyed it, and I kept doing that, and I was like, fuck, this is so fun. So I did that. CrossFit was only a small stint. Like I still really enjoy it, but like I was just like, I liked the lifting more, and then did that for about 2 years. I really enjoyed that, and then met my partner now. She's always been doing bodybuilding, and then it's always something I've wanted to try. So when I turned 18, I was like, I want to buy a gym membership. So help me with my soccer. And I remember signing up with the coach there, and he always used to do prep prep clients and like, but he was doing strength conditioning for me. And I used to always look at it like, fuck, I wish I could do that. I wish I could try that. I grew up a lot heavier. So like the idea of being lean and stuff is really cool to me. But I was just like, oh no, it's not for me. Soccer. I can't quit soccer.
Yeah.
But I ended up finding my way there. And so the plan was to go back to Olympic weightlifting after I did my comp, but I just loved it so much. And it was really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, I like to try things.
So when did you make the decision to get into comps for the first time? How long were you training for?
I just sort of went straight into it. So I started at the start of last year. I said, I want to go compete. I joined up with my partner's coach. I'm not with them anymore, but did the comp with them, and then it was awesome. Like, It was fun. A lot of things I would have done differently now, like in hindsight, knowing what I do now. But then I will definitely do it again.
Yeah,
I think 2025.
Yeah, yeah.
Give myself a year to actually focus on my uni.
Yeah.
Still train, put some size on, get bigger, and then with my new coach, he's so knowledgeable. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I'll show you a photo of him after.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
nuts. He's just so smart, so knowledgeable, and so I trust that he's gonna do what's in the best interest for me, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, nice. So how'd you go when it comes to the level when you competed? Like, how did it go placement wise and shit like that?
I did 3 categories. I came 4th in the first one, 5th in the second one, and then 3rd in the last one, which was like. So I don't know if you know much about like the
Not too
different
much.
federations. So IFBB is like the big, like that's the best one. You know what the Olympia is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Chris Bumstead?
Yeah.
So the only way you can ever get to the Olympia is you go through the IFBB. And you go through there and you qualify and you go on so on. All the other ones like ICN, A and B, they're just their own sort of federation. Nothing wrong with them, but like go big or go home.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
when I told everyone I'm doing IFBB, they're like, "Are you sure? That's the big league, Then I'm like, "Fuck it, I want to go to fuck it. I want to prove people wrong. I want to do it."
Yeah.
And like I had no expectations. I just wanted to get up there, give the best shot I got, and lucky enough, I got a medal. And I was like, "Fuck!" Like I can't even explain the feeling.
That's
I remember
awesome.
I got off the second category and I thought I'd placed, and I didn't. I was like, "Fuck, that's all right." I went to my phone to check my girlfriend. I'm like, "Hey, I didn't place," and then she was like taking photos. Looking at photos, and I go, "Fuck, I actually don't care how I go now."
Yeah.
I literally was like, "That's me." I was
That's
like, what the
mad.
fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, man, like I'm so happy. Like I don't even care. And then, like luckily I still had a little bit more care to finish off the last category, and I placed, and I was like so happy with that. So it was good.
Yeah, it's awesome, bro. The photos are phenomenal. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Did a great job. And you did mention that you were at a point where you were really strict when your missus wasn't, and then she was really strict when you weren't. How did what did the strictness look like in terms of leading up? Like, did you have to constantly keep making it harder and harder and harder?
Yeah,
as you
so
got
pretty
on?
much like it depends on what level you're at. Like if you're the pros and stuff like that, they don't have to do their prep would start like the prep would be 10 weeks out where you're really hard dieting, your cardio's increased. But for someone who's sort of still into like just getting into it, it's usually about 25 weeks, 20 to 25 weeks. So I did about a 25-week prep, and
Fuck, 6 months is a long prep, eh?
oh yeah,
That's a big stint, bro.
see, so my partner also did 6 months,
Yeah,
and
wow.
like hers was a little bit more harder for females. It's a little bit harder to get down to that really low body fat, and so it was very hard for her. And it's like, but in the process of it being hard, we bonded a lot, and we had our moments. Whenever someone asked me about how was the relationship, I was like, they're like, how many breakups did you almost have during prep? And I'm like, a lot. It's just like, it's so hard to explain to someone unless they've been in it, because you're just so heightened. Your stress is all over. And it's like, we're both pretty good in terms of not really caring if the other person's eating. But like when she was on, say, 1,200 calories a day, and I'm on 5,000 calories a day. You're having dinner. I've got this huge fucking bowl of food. She's got this little fish and asparagus and stuff. You sort of want to look at your partner and you go, fuck you.
Yeah,
like,
of
you're just like,
course.
fucking hell. But like, it's nothing personal. It's like they can't, like, you can't force them to eat what you're eating. Like it's not
Yeah.
fair. But
Yeah.
so it was actually kind of nice because I saw the receiving end of like when she was in prep and I was helping her, and then she got the receiving end like when I was in prep. I'd like to think I was better. I think I was a little bit like in better condition when I started, so doing weightlifting and stuff like that. So like I had to bring up some parts, but like I was pretty all right. Whereas we had just started dating.
Yeah.
We got like maybe 2 months of just eating out, going out, drinking, partying, just having fun with each other, enjoying it. So
Yeah.
we both were just like not in the best state. And then she started prep, and then so it was hard from the get go.
Yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
don't know how she did it, but she did it and she fucking killed it. She
Yeah,
did really
nice.
good. She competed up in Gold Coast in April, and it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
best experience. So proud of her. And then I competed in Sydney, 2 different federations. She did. There's one called WBFF. It's like its own thing. It's like almost like fashion-y.
Okay.
It's like I'll pull up something after and I'll show you, but it's like it's really cool, really well produced. But like for the men and for me personally, it's not my thing. For the females, it's really fun. Looks really cool. The
Nice.
IFBB was where I knew I wanted to go, and you know, I said to myself like, you know, if I do it and it's good, like that's great. I didn't expect to like it that much. Like I actually fell in love with it. The process, the meal prepping, the dieting, the structure is. I love structure.
Yeah.
Although sometimes I feel like I have no structure, like that structure that I had in prep was awesome. I knew what I had to do. I knew when I had to eat. I knew when I had to do cardio, when I trained and stuff like that, and I had to prioritize it. But like it can be very straining because you like, how do I explain to say we're dating and I'm in prep and you're not, and you want to go out and go for a dinner, but my coach has said, can't have any cheat meals. No cheat meals. I've got to do 2 hours of cardio tonight.
Yeah.
I've got to train for 2 hours before. That's 4 hours in the night. I'm gone.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, becomes almost a trust thing because you're like, you know, it's hard. I was on the receiving end. I'm like, oh, she's at the gym so long. Like, what's she doing? And then she was doing the same thing. And it's like, it's not like you don't trust a partner, but it's just like, you know, you just miss them. You want to spend time with them. But at the same time, you got to be like, you know, you got to understand that it's not like they're doing what they need to do. It's for the comp.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. That's such an important part of any relationship, bro. And it's understanding that the other person is their own individual person and
100%.
coming to terms with the fact that you are there to complement each other's lives in times which it's not just beneficial but efficient for you both. You know, like, fuck, don't get me wrong, it'd be so good to spend every minute of every day with your partner. You know, it'd be the best. At times, it could be the worst.
100%. You have your moments.
You have your
It's just
moments,
like,
yeah.
You just button heads and stuff like that, and it's just like it. As much as I think back and I go, oh man, did it make it, like, it was so hard and we had a lot of arguments and stuff. It actually made us a lot closer, and just there was this huge, deeper understanding for each other, and we just knew we were there for each other no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I can't recall the amount of times like she works in a hospitality cafe from like 5 to 2. She'd have to get up and do cardio at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I just said, I bought a membership at the gym she was going at because she went to 2 just so I could be there. And I'd be like, come on, get up, let's go. And then I would cook her meals when she was exhausted at night. And she would do the same.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be at the
great.
gym, I'd be training, and then I'd be doing cardio for an hour after, and then a sauna for an hour. And, you know, I'd come home and all my meals were cooked. And it's just like, you know, sometimes you don't think in the moment, you don't say how much you appreciate that person. And especially like but after you just like, you know, you're just like, fuck, like, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Yeah, there's a power in terms of if you can let go of the fact that you have your own individual lives, and you can also be there to support each other in times where you have your own free time and they don't. So let's make your free time beneficial for them when they have theirs. And if both people can work that out, there's been plenty of studies about it before, and they're not scientific studies to a term, but they're more like examples of the greatest of the greatest achievers of any type of success always have a support system behind them, you know.
100%.
And
You can't do everything by yourself.
you can't, dude. And it's the only way to achieve greatness is to have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Doing it on your own is probably possible, but at the end of the day, it's also lonesome and it's also like detrimental to your own mental health. But having someone there to support you, it will push anyone to that next level.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like it's so deep appreciation for each other. It's just like it was good. But would I recommend that to a newly couple? Fuck no, man. Don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
People ask like, do you recommend? I'm like, no. But like now that we've done it, I think the next time we compete, we want to do it together, like at the same time, same federation. So it's just easier. We're both able to. And it was just like I mentioned before, you appreciate the small things. Like I said, we're not lavish. We don't go out, spend huge amounts of money. Like if we can, we will once in a while. But like, it was just little things. Like every morning, Saturday, Sunday, we'd get up and go for a walk, get a coffee at our favorite place, talk, chat before we had to go to work.
Yeah.
And as of recent times, we just haven't been able to do it. We've just been so busy. So I'm keen to get back into those things. But like those little things become so important in the prep.
Yeah.
And they almost like keep you sane because you're just like, okay, like I can't have milk coffee, but I can still get there and get a long black and sit with
That's
my
the only
partner.
way you should have your coffee. Anyway,
Yeah, I
dude.
love long black. Are you like into coffee?
I'm not a massive advocate for coffee. Like I'm not saying like, I understand it that much, but
Yeah.
I love a good coffee.
Me too.
I love coffee.
I'll go. You could probably name most suburbs, and I've probably been there, and I can tell you where's a good coffee place. I love that's like me and my partner. We bonded so much. She's a barista.
Okay.
So she works at Talong Station. She manages that little cafe there, and that's how we met. You know, through coffee, and then she introduced me to a whole world, and we're both coffee snobs.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
It's such a world, isn't it? Coffee, like it's such a
good.
fucking weird little part of the world that has such a community behind it.
It does, and it's like it's good though. Like I enjoy it. Like, and it's just going back to what I was saying before. Like it's it's the small things.
Yeah.
And I think like for anyone, if anyone listens to this and thinking of getting in bodybuilding, and you have a partner and they may not be into it, or just stay on top of the small things. Do that, and just always remember that your partner is there too, and that don't forget about them.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the bigger goal at hand, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to do it without them.
It's funny, because it's like it is a challenge you have to learn to overcome when you have got a partner that has their own life, and in particular, I manifested that going through certain relationships to the point where it's like I always thought, especially growing up as a kid, and then going through multiple relationships as an early adult, I'm like, I don't care what my partner has, as long as they're like nice to me and my family, then I don't care if they don't work for their whole life. I don't care if they just sit at home. I'm happy to go work. But eventually I learned that when your partner has their own life, they're actually so much more better as a person. And it sounds like the ideal dream that's especially been surfacing a lot through 2023 and 2024, that you want a stay-at-home wife. It's a lot of these things that everyone's manifesting. And don't get me wrong, that it would be amazing. But just because you're a stay-at-home wife doesn't mean you can't have your own life outside of you. Everyone thinks they want to be worshipped and have someone waiting at their hand and foot, but that's what kills relationships.
It gets boring, People
100%.
the husband's out all day. He pays for everything, he does everything, but then it turns into he's not home, he's working, and then leads to other things. But no, I agree. You need your own life, and going back to my old relationship where she was completely codependent on me. I had to do everything. I had to drive her everywhere. I had to do everything, and it was so draining.
Yeah.
And look, there's things, she had other things that for those reasons, but at the same time, she just wasn't her own self. She relied heavily dependent on me, and it wasn't healthy. It's not healthy. You need to have your own life. And even now, me and my partner, we're quite similar in terms, but we're so different, and it's good.
100%.
Sometimes we clash, but
yeah,
it's good. We have our own interests. We also we do the same sport, but there's a lot of things we're into that's different. Things that I like that she doesn't understand, and there's things that she likes that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Do you know the Call Her Daddy podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I got in the car one time and she was listening to it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh,
It's not a bad podcast.
No,
like,
it's actually not that bad, but like, it's just funny. She just listens to it. Like, she doesn't actually relate to some of the stuff they talk about. I got in the car and she was like, listen to this, like, thing about a breakup. And I'm just like, trying to tell me something. And she was like, no, it's like, this is my favorite podcast. I really enjoy it. Her and her auntie, who
you get in the
also
car
is
and
getting,
it's like, how do you tell your boyfriend you want to break up with him?
it was something like, are you in a, I can't remember what it was. It was like, I got to get the podcast up. It was, I literally said, I'm just like, you trying to tell me something?
Yeah. I've been in a relationship in the past, especially where I remember my partner would say, we're talking about what we wanted and what we expected out of a future of the relationship. And she said to me what she wanted. And then I explained what my ideal future would look like, where we both go out, we both have our own jobs. We're focusing on self-progression. We have our own hobbies and interests. And then we come home at the end of the day and we share each other our experiences. And she's like, well, so you just want to be two people living two different lives that just come together at the end of every day? And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah. But she was so not that person. She wanted to be one person who didn't leave each other's side, who did this. And
yeah, I get that.
I learned very quickly into that relationship that this isn't going to work out. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying they're a bad type of person. Like, there's probably millions of guys who want that too. In my opinion, they're beta as fuck.
No, I agree. Like, it just seems so, it's almost like it's controlling to an extent, right? Also, the podcast was, am I settling in a relationship? And I got in the car and I'm just like, what the fuck?
I will put a link in the description if anyone wants to listen to that. Am I settling? Lads, if you're listening, play it while you're getting into the car with your missus and say, hey, I'm just listening to something. And
it's like, am I still in a relationship? And I go, what the fuck are you listening to? But, yeah, she, she's into her and her auntie. Her auntie's having a baby soon, happily engaged. She listens to it too. Yeah. And it's nothing, it's like, nothing personal. It's like, but, just all sorts of different things. Me and her have had very different ways we've been raised. And especially throughout our like young adult to almost getting into the adult stage, very different.
Now that you're reaching an age, dude, which I have just hit recently, which is mid-20s. Yeah. I'm literally right there in the center of it.
Basically a dinosaur now.
Bro, I'm peeking at the door of 30, like it's fucking, like it's my next fucking avenue, bro. Like it's crazy. Yeah. Do you feel any type of like societal pressure or like where you should be at or like anything like that?
That's a good question. Yes and no. Like sometimes I think in terms of career, like I should have everything settled. I shouldn't be working in retail and I should have a full-time job. But then the other side of me is like, why? Yeah. Why do I need to have that right now? Yeah. And I get why my parents and my mom pushing for it. They just want me to be stable and they just want me to be comfortable at the end of the day. So, and then like, me and my girlfriend have always been 2 years and people are always like, when are you getting married? When are you going to engage? When are you...
There might be this question.
When are you going to have a baby?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, we have so many things. And me and my partner have spoken about all of this and we're like, we want to travel. We want to, I think we want to go to Bali at mid this year and then we're going on a cruise with my whole my family and then all like my siblings' partners and stuff, my partner, we'll go on a cruise. Nice. So that's exciting. That's going to be interesting. Very. But like, I don't know. It's just like...
Not ready yet, eh?
Not ready. It's not... do you know what? It sounds weird, but I am ready. I would love to have a kid. But I don't want to bring a kid into a world that I can't fully support. Yeah. I would hate that. Yeah. And I'm not saying my parents did that, but like they had me. I was an accident. I came out and they weren't ready. And they struggled because of me and my sister. And like, not saying struggled in a bad way. Like they loved us and they were so happy because they wanted kids, but... We just came. My mum always says, "You just came at a time we weren't expecting," So
it's a nice way of saying it.
And like, being quite conscious of that, I just don't want to. I don't want to not say I make the same mistake, but I want to be when I have kids. I want to be ready. But these things. I'm also on the back of my mind. It's also like if it happens, just gotta make do. Just gotta do it. If something happens like that,
dude, that is like, a mature mindset.
If something like that happens, I've just got to go with it. And I'm like, all right, this is just a new thing I've got to deal with. Yeah. Challenge it, embrace it,
Because I reckon if you asked your parents, they wouldn't change a thing either. I reckon they would just do it all over again, exactly the same way they did it. And I'm the same. Like I wanted to be an early dad for a very long time, and I'm actually grateful now the fact that I haven't done it yet because of the exposure I've been able to experience without having kids. But as soon as the kids come, like that's just another obstacle you got to learn 100%. To deal with. Like it doesn't matter. So I'm asking the question because I'm curious. Like, is there just more things you want to do without having the responsibility of kids yet, or is it that, like, what is the reason for wanting to prolong it?
Like I said, I just don't think I'm ready. I still have a lot of maturing. I'm very self-aware, and I know that there are things in life that I haven't lived out of home yet. I'm just only experiencing now. I know a lot of people still, stay at home or whatever. They move out at a young age. Like my partner's been out of home for a while, and she's very independent. Something I love about her, something I hate about her, because she wants to do everything by herself. She doesn't want help. And she's only learning to sort of accept that help now. And it's nice. It's good. I'm saying, like, she's progressing and she's like developing as a person, as an individual too. But like for me, like I need to mature a bit more.
Yeah, a good answer.
And not in a term of like, I don't party, I don't drink, I don't really go out and do much stuff like that. Like not in that way, but it's just like, I want to be settled. I want to maybe have a house. I want to, even if I don't have a house, but like I want to be working full time. I don't want to bring a kid into this world and I'm struggling thinking, fuck, I can't get my kid food. I don't have money. Yeah. And that's something me and my partner don't want. And we know, obviously we want to travel and stuff, but like, you can always travel with a kid. I hear people say you can't travel with a kid. Like, yes, you can. You can definitely travel with your kid.
It'll honestly probably only cost an extra max couple $1,000s on top of any holiday. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that much.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, other than plane tickets, you know what I mean? Like, you're still getting the same fucking rooms. You're eating the same amount of food. Like, what do kids eat? Fuck all. Yeah, I feel ya. I think that being 23 is an awesome, for me anyway, was an awesome part of my life to be in, because up until 25, the level of self-maturity and self-awareness that I gained was detrimental compared to every other year. Like, it was just a rapid increase in, I wouldn't call it knowledge, because if I know anything, I know nothing. Yeah. It's more like acceptance of the fact that I know nothing and I'm willing to take in as much information as possible from here on out. Okay. So whether you have kids or not, I think that you're going to have a great next couple of years. I'm already gaining that you're very insightful and self-aware and all these things.
I'm very excited. I think this move will be great. Like, even, like, you probably tell I could talk a lot. And I love, it's like one of the things I like, it sounds a bit self-absorbed, but like I love that I can talk to anyone. Yeah. I can start a conversation with anyone. On the way here, I walked down the street. I left the house and I walked down I was going to Sydenham Station. And I was like, I have some time. I'll go grab a coffee. I walked in and there was an older couple sitting with the dog, and a dog came up to me, I patted it, and I just struck conversation. And they were so welcome. They were so nice. Like, welcome to the neighborhood. This is so nice. They're telling me places that, I should check out and stuff for me and my partner. And I was just like, yeah, this is good. Like,
dude, that'll get you so far in life, bro. That is a secret to the universe that people do not take advantage of. And that's just putting yourself into a situation that you would not usually get if you were a bit more introverted,
Yeah. Well, like, even when I was younger, my mum would tell me, like, I'd just go up to kids at the park. I'm like, what, 2, 3. Hi, I'm Nikita. Yeah. Hey, I'm Nikita. How are you? Do you want to be my friend? Yeah. And it's just something that my mum's always said, like, it's something, like, it gets a bit annoying sometimes because I just want to talk to people, and if we're in a rush and I actually don't realize how long I've been talking for. Yeah. Especially if I haven't seen that person in ages, and my missus always tells me, hurry the fuck up. Like, come on, Nikita. She's very introverted. Yeah. Like, so, and she doesn't, like, I bring it out in her though, which is nice. Like, because she's so bubbly and so nice and so, like, such an awesome person, but she's just so quiet sometimes in situations with other people. So it's which is funny because she used to be such a big party girl. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, how does that work? Yeah. But
I get you. It's I'm glad that you are an extroverted kind of person, dude, because, like, for starters, you're willing to come do the podcast. You'd be surprised how many people I'm good friends with who don't have the level of, I wouldn't call it confidence, I'd call it belief in their own ability to withhold a conversation. You know, it is
it's-
something that takes practice. Don't get me wrong. Being a conversationalist in itself is basically a career. So it takes practice from just putting yourself out there, introducing yourself to people, going up to people when they're having a coffee and just saying, "Hey, how are you?" Like,
Yeah, and I was just like, you know, like it's so small, and I like to think I'm Russian Orthodox, but in terms of like the universe and sending signs and putting out positive vibes and receiving them back, I very much believe it's true. And I don't know, it was just something about this morning, that conversation, going to that coffee store. The lady was so nice, and you know, she made me some food, and then I bought a coffee too with it. And I don't know, I walked out and I thought, I text my dad straight away and I go, I think this is going to be really good. Like, I just got a really good feeling about this.
fuck yeah, dude. You pumped me up. That's mad. I want to go fucking meet someone today and have a conversation after this. Dude, I want to keep doing it.
It's cool. And I just, I don't know. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be good.
Oh, I got a couple more things I want to get at too.
Let's go.
I felt full. We've literally hit so much fucking mad shit that I've written down too. One of the things I've written down was, considering we did talk about it in a little bit of a segment, I can pretty much jump straight to the question, which is, what are a few things that you think are 100% necessary in order for a relationship to remain healthy? And we'll go back and forward on them too.
Yeah.
We'll go back and forward.
I think it differs from person to person, relationship to relationship. But if we're talking about specifically my relationship, lots of communication. I think having an understanding, you know, your partner is, you know, they have their own problems and you need to be understanding. You can't just be like, oh, fuck, boo-hoo me. Like, I'm upset. I'm tired. So's your significant other.
Yeah.
You know? And funny enough, like, I think I mentioned before that we've just been working. We're so busy. We haven't actually had time to do the little things. And we had a conversation, me and my partner. I don't know if she's going to get shitty with me that I'm putting this out there. But, you know, before the move, we've just been so stressed. We've been at each other. Like, we've just been bickering over stupid things. Like, just I'm getting on her nerves heaps. She's being like a bit rude to me back. And I'm just like, what the hell? And I stopped her and I go, what? Like, is there something wrong? Like, what's up? You need to tell me right now. Like, because it's just like, I just feel like, you know, like we haven't been able to do these little things. It's like, I just feel like that spark is like fading. It's just like, I love you so much. And that love is not dying. It's not fading. I had to double check that because I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Which is like, it's just, we haven't been able to do anything. You're working so much. I'm working so much. With the move, you know, we haven't had time for ourselves. And I'm just like, fuck, like, you're right. You know, and like, as much as all these things like are important, you got to prioritize your relationship. You got to prioritize some time for yourselves. So we're probably going to, like, I want to sit down and just sort of be like, all right, like, moving forward in this new house, in the new year, we need to have some things that we are non-negotiables. Date nights, things that we do, spending time with each other, phones off, just things that just, you know, to help connect and stuff like that. Like, we have a really strong relationship. And, you know, I was a bit shocked when I heard that because I was like, fuck no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I have to look back and reflect and go, well, what have I done recently to actually show that? And I hadn't.
Yeah.
Neither had she, but also, like, it takes two.
Yeah,
you know? And she was also like, you know, I haven't done anything either.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just getting irritated at you. And it's just like, I was like, fuck, it hit me hard because I was just like, those little things are something I prided myself on for our relationship because I love doing them. And I just, one, didn't have the financial means to do some of these things every time. But two, we just were so pressed with time. And with Christmas and everything, it's hard, I guess. But, yeah, so that's...
Good answer, Bart, because you took my one and you fucking gave another one too. So, it's mad because communication is key. Communication is key to not just any partnership, but it's any relationship, any friendship, any bond between a father and his son, mother and his son, siblings. It's business partners, co-workers. Like, communication is everything. If you're not going to be honest, and it's a good thing that your missus bring it up to you, because like, if she didn't communicate, who knows where that road could have led to. You know, I've been in past relationships where it wasn't brought up from either party, and then the relationship just kind of died.
Well, that's the thing. She said, for her, she's always never been able to voice her opinion, and it's hard for her to communicate how she feels sometimes because she's never felt like she could. But, you know, I had to sort of get it out with her a bit, but like she told me eventually, and I was just like, you know, like she was crying. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want you to feel hurt. I don't want to hurt you. Like, this is like, I feel so shit. And I just said, like, don't, like, please. Like, I thank you for telling me. You know, that relationship could have ended when she told me that. I could have just been like, well, you probably don't love me.
Yeah.
But like, I know.
Not just that, you could have played the other side and been like, "What? You don't think I make enough effort? Think about all the things I've done in the past." But it's the understanding of like she's right. You know, currently they're not experiencing things together. You know.
You know, yeah, 100%. We weren't able to do things, and it was hard. Like I'd look back, I'm like, fuck, and I go, oh, but like we're with each other every night, and she's like, Nikita, us coming home after work and sitting on the couch and not talking or talking, that's not spending time together. That's just, and she's like, that's the one thing I told you I don't want us to get to, because that's not us going out of our ways for time. That's just us being there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck
it's hard for me, and especially, dude, and it's something that I'm going to use as my example, which you did touch on, and that's the date night scenario that everyone says a good, healthy relationship needs to have. You know, you have to prioritize the date night, and you can't compromise it, because I personally consider value time to be just time spent with someone in putting on a Netflix show. You know, it could be just being in the same room as I'm on my laptop and she's doing something else. Like, that's how I feel comfort and love. But especially with females and feminine energy, it's doing and experiencing something new together. It's fucking the coffee trips. It's all these kind of things.
And honestly, like, we love doing that too. We'd always put on a show, but like it was the little things before that, like cooking dinner together, going to the shops and grabbing all the ingredients, grabbing snacks, and then coming home, cooking it, putting Netflix on, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just like the little things that we have just missed out on. And, you know, touching back on what I was, how she told me, you know, it was hard. Like, I'll admit, like, it was hard to hear that. But I said, like, I want to fix this. And I hope that, you know, now that the stress has come off of the move, you know, she'll be a little bit more irritable and more open to doing things. Because, like, as much as she was saying, I was like, hold on a minute, like, I'm trying. And that, like, it's true. Like, I was trying to do things, but she's like, I'm too tired, I don't want to do. And then I eventually was like, well, you're too exhausted. Like, I'm just going to stop asking. You keep saying no. So it went both ways, but
it always goes both ways. But it's good to have the conversations. You know, it's
I'm
such
glad
an
she
important
did,
part.
because she said, like, in her past relationship, you know, her ex-boyfriend was not very nice. He was not a very good person to her, and you know, she said, like, if he just said earlier and said, like, hey, look, I just don't think it's working out. You know, let's just end it here, be mutual about it, and go. She said it would have been so much better. But no, he didn't say anything, and it turned into them just hating him hating her, for no reason, and just being an absolute asshole. And then, you know, leading down that path, and just like she was like, I don't want that, you know. And that night, she was so like, after she told me, you know, like, we were going to bed, and she started crying, and she's just like, please don't go. Like, she's like, please, I don't want to lose you. Like, I don't want to, please. Like, it's just like, I've never seen her that vulnerable before. And it sort of, I guess I sort of had doubts in my mind. I'm like, maybe she just doesn't know that she's fallen out of love, and she's saying it's that. But I don't know, I guess after seeing that, I was just like, no, I think she very much does love me, and she very much wants us to work, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And look, do you know what? As much as I don't want this to happen, but if in a month or two, and you know, we're doing all these things and it's just something's just not working, and we have to call it quits, look, at least we tried.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not going to hate her. I said to her in that moment, I said, if you're not in love with me anymore, that's fine. You've told me. I can't hate you for that. I can't, like, as much as it hurts, like, it sucks, you know, I'm not going to hate you. Like, you can't help how you feel sometimes. And I said, that's fine, you know. And it sucked, but, like, you know, I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy. I will be okay. I will still be able to live.
Yeah. Well, love is a commitment, dude. Love, unfortunately, like, it will always have those moments in which any relationship experiences it. There will be times where both people question the fact in whether they actually should or are going to be able to keep each other happy for the rest of their lives. Like, are they willing? The question is more like, am I willing to spend the rest of my life with this person? You know?
Exactly.
Do we have the same morals? Do we see the same future values? Do we have these things? So if you understand that that feeling's going to come and you're self-aware enough to know that you're going to hit the bottom, then together you can work forward to start making the climb back up to the top. But just remember when you're at the top that you're going to go back down to the bottom again. And it's a constant wave,
Constant wave. And yeah, I think she said something so powerful. She just said, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who, you know, I don't want to be in a relationship with where we just think we're just with each other because we're with each other. She's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people are so, she's like, I don't want to be in a, you know, that we've been together for a while now that like we're just with each other because it's been so long and we can't be bothered finding someone else. And she's like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to be in the relationship because I love you and I want to be with you. And I said, I agree. If it ever got to that point, like we shouldn't be together.
Yeah, of course.
And,
If
you know,
he's together because it's too scary to go start. I hear those stories all the time for people in my life.
and
like,
I just think it's so miserable. Like
oh,
it's
it's pathetic. I want to use the word pathetic. If someone's with someone because they haven't got the effort to try again with someone who makes
Yeah.
them happy, like that's not a good person in
Yeah.
either side of that scenario. Like you're doing them the wrong thing. You know, you're being a selfish person
And
because
you're also hurting yourself.
yeah, and on top of that, like you're actually selfishly lazy. You know, and that's affecting how the other person could be spending their time with someone else.
100%. And you see those couples, you see where you can see they fucking hate each other.
Yeah,
But they're just together.
yeah,
And they're probably never going to break up. They're just going to stay with each other. And you're just like, why put yourself through that? And that's something I don't want with Leah. Like, I love her. Like, I see a future with her. Like, I don't want anyone else. I can't think of being with anyone else. But, you know, if the time came and say we had to part ways, I would be okay.
yeah.
I know that I'm going to be fine.
Of course, that's the healthiest mindset you can ever possibly be
Yeah.
in.
It's like a sort of like if I warn myself this, I'll be fine after. Obviously, I'm going to be upset. Like, I love this girl so much. But, like,
Yeah,
you know, you've always got to be sort of, you know, got to
You
be
have to
okay.
love
You got to be
yourself.
secure.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
be
yeah.
secure in yourself that, you know, if something was to happen, you're going to be okay.
yeah,
Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Doesn't mean you can't be upset. But, you know, you can't just toss the towel and go, oh, fuck, I give up and everything.
I think if you're with someone and you love someone, but you also believe that if you weren't with that person, that you'll be okay, that will make the relationship even stronger because it proves to you and the other person that the only reason you're with each other is because you're choosing to be with each other.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like this question. It's good. I like talking about all this stuff. It's very interesting. You know, I've met a lot of people. I've, you know, been with a decent amount of people, romantically, friendship, whether it's just be friendships. And it's like you meet so many people and it's just like everyone's so different. And, you know, you probably ask this question to other people and they might answer it different. You know?
Yeah, of course.
People, you know, might say, no, if I break up with my girlfriend, that's fuck. I'm never dating again. I hear that so many times.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
look, everyone's different, you know.
Yeah. It's weird getting that whole stage though, don't get me wrong. It's weird when you break up with someone and then you meet someone again for the first time and you have to do the whole dance, especially if it's a rebound type of relationship. When you get out of a long-term one and then you get someone and then you're meeting their parents and
It's weird.
It's really weird. But when you do it with the right person, my mum always said to me as I grew up, always said it to me, because I'm a lover boy. I've always been one. I've always been chasing that feeling of commitment and love and all these things. And I've always, since a kid, I've had a girlfriend since fucking 2.
Yeah.
And one question I kind of asked my mum was like, how do you know if it's the right person? And she said you don't, but you know when it's not the right person.
100%.
And
I can resonate with that 100%. You know, it's
You'll never know if it's the right person because there's no such thing. You know, I don't really believe in soulmates in a way, but I believe that some people were destined to be drawn together, you know, like you might have multiple.
Have you ever heard of the invisible string theory?
Love it. It's a Chinese string theory. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And that's that every single thing that this world is consisted of, whether it be physical, mental, idea, emotion, every person, everything has a string attached to it. And then every time that you pull on one string, you've pulled a million other things in its right position, you know?
Yeah.
And the theory kind of comes from a God-like belief of a puppeteer who's pulling the orchestrators. But it's a great theory that I think that is factual in a metaphorical sense. You know? And I've referenced it on the podcast before, whether you dropped $50, but that this sucks, but that $50 is attached and it's pulling someone else towards it. You know, it's awesome.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. All right. Well, while we're already on this, I got some a bit more philosophical kind of questions, and I love deep conversation.
Me too.
Know?
I really enjoy these conversations.
Yeah, I love small talk too. Don't get me wrong. People say they hate small talk. I like it. I think it's a good way to know someone. But through deep conversation, you tackle all the small.
Well, you can't really get into the deep conversation if you can't connect with them on a small talk basis. Like if I can't look at you and be like, hey, how are you, and sort of get to know you, how the fuck am I going to ask you? What's your deepest desires? And why can't you sleep in the, I don't know, fucking some random shit. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying it, though, one day. You just made me have an idea where maybe I would one day orchestrate a conversation where it's just straight into, like, what's your biggest fear, you know what I mean?
What's your biggest fear, mate?
Yeah. Do you feel like you had enough love growing up? Yeah.
Why? What traumatized you?
Yeah, tell me about your trauma and are you over it? All right, well, one question to kind of deep, but to also a bit more on the same terms because we were talking about health.
Yeah.
And health obviously has 3 factors to it. You got your physical, mental, and your spiritual.
Yeah.
They do say that most people do prioritize 2 out of 3. I was going to say if you agree with that and if there was one of them that you think is not as much. Obviously, your physical, you look after pretty good. So out of mental and spiritual, would you say you look after them both?
Probably say mental more.
Yeah.
I am a spiritual person, I think, but I think I'm strong in my beliefs and I know how I feel about whether it be, you know, just the universe or my belief in my faith and stuff like that. I know that's always there and I guess I don't have to always touch it because I know it's always there. So I think that one would potentially get put to the side.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think physical and mental.
Yeah.
I think because I know I'm not where I want to be physically, so that's technically why I put that one first. And then mental is always important. It's always something I'm working on day to day.
Yeah.
I used to journal a lot, but as I started driving lots and going back and forth, I stopped. And I think it's something I would like to do again.
Yeah,
I bought
definitely.
myself and my partner like a 2024 journal and to sort of keep on top of things and stay track because there were definitely some points, especially in bodybuilding, it is such a mental sport. Like it, and you might hear that go, what do you mean? Well, like you're competing based on your physical composition.
Yeah, of course.
I used to think, I'm like, no, I'm not going to like, oh my God, what's the word? Compare. I'm not going to compare with other people. It's fine. But you see pictures and you go, oh, why am I not that lean?
Yeah.
Oh shit, he's bigger there. Like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? Oh, I can't do anything. And it's just like, it eats away. And if you're not strong mentally, it will kill you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people drop out of the combat because it gets so hard. You're so hungry. You're so tired. But then you're like, fuck, I'm not where that guy's so much further ahead of me. How am I going to beat him?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you probably could.
Yeah.
You don't know. Anything can happen on the day. But
yeah. It's a physical sport against others, but it's a mental sport against yourself at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think, you know, today's society, there's such a big push for everyone to be open with their mental state. And I love it. Like, it's so cool. Like, I can say if we were doing this like 5 years ago, fuck, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Nah.
I wouldn't be telling you about like how I'm feeling mentally or how like my relationship was going and like all that type of stuff. But like now it's accepted.
Yeah.
You know, men especially are able to speak up and talk about their feelings and sort of, you know, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think, yeah, physical and mental, definitely.
Yeah,
what about you?
nice.
What do you lean towards and what don't you lean towards?
I would say that your answer's pretty similar, you know,
Yeah.
like I think spiritual isn't at the top of the priorities, even though I'm a pretty spiritually aware type of person, whether it's just theoretical or whether I'm just trying to, whatever it is. But I think that's probably the healthiest way to do it, because if you have a strong enough faith, then you know that faith is fate. You know that faith is something that's always going to be there, whether you decide to put your mind onto it or not. You know?
Okay.
So I'd probably say the same thing. At the moment, though, currently I'd say physical at this time in my life. Like, I'm not training, I'm not exercising. I am eating healthier. But I know that as soon as I do start, getting back into the gym, my mental state will probably start to take a toll. It's very hard to do all three at the same time.
It is. And I feel like once you get that balance, it's like, it's good.
It's perfect, bro. It's perfect pyramid there.
But I don't think that's realistic. I
No.
think it's always going to be back and forth, up and down.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the way life is. It's like I feel like if you can equally balance this, like this, you must have a pretty mundane life. Like there's nothing going on.
Great point.
Because I feel like there's always, life is so always throwing challenges at you. And I guess it's part of the game to sort of be able to balance it and deal with it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
In
fun.
order for one to get better, one needs to start taking a toll.
Yeah.
And then once that reaches its next, like your physical health's good, let your mental health catch up a little bit, then bring your physical, then bring your spiritual, like it's all about that.
And I think that like, it's important. Like, yeah, I agree. Like,
Yeah.
It's, it's having a balance and all that. And it's so important. And especially nowadays, even like, when I talk about like, the mental, I don't know, it's just something about today's society that it's just more people are mental, like being challenged with their mental health. It's sad,
Yeah.
Like back in the day, there's wars. People are dying. 17, 16-year-olds on the front line getting shot and killed. But we're in a society now where everything's protected and people are having worse mental health.
Yeah.
I don't know why. What do you think that is?
why. Well, I have a couple theories on it in particular. Like, there's no question and doubt in the fact that especially men are becoming more vulnerable and able to articulate their feelings in a way. Now, does that come? Does the fruit of that reward mean that there is a worse position in order for men to be in because they're aware of the fact and they're talking about the fact and they're discussing and there's other people agreeing that we're not always warriors. If you grow up believing you're a warrior, you'll die believing you're a warrior. But if you grow up and then you start to come to terms with the fact that I'm not always a warrior, like there's a big dilemma that I'm trying to decide. I haven't fully worked it out yet, but I do believe that I don't know if the world is necessarily shifting, but I think that we are shifting into a new world. Like the world is always going to be what it is. Societies have been the way they are for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
But just like when you're a kid and the situation that your parents were in financially or their own mental state, you weren't aware of it. It's always been there, but you weren't yet at the age and maturity to fall into the world of understanding. So I think maybe it's always been a world where men did discuss their feelings and we're finally stepping into an age in which we are aware of it.
Yeah. But I also think just in general, like I think there's more mental illnesses and mental health issues among both sexes. And yeah, it's interesting.
I think there's I don't think there is in a way that there's just more titles for things. Like say
I also think there's more titles, but then also more acceptance.
Yeah.
Like, you hear all these movements and you hear all these things come up and, like it's like I don't even want to say it because I'm going to say it wrong. But like, like the transgender community, like that back in the day would never have been accepted, but now it's accepted. And then I feel like that acceptance, people have been like, okay, well this is accepted. Let's push the norm a bit more. And more things are being accepted, which, sometimes I see and I go, that's weird. That's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Like I saw someone on the other day, he's like had surgery or something to become a dog.
Yeah,
He lives
yeah.
in a cage.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
I know.
I'm just like back in the day, people would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, free to him, man. If he wants to, live like that and he thinks he's trapped inside a dog's trapped inside his body.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
But
his love, yeah.
It's also like, it's just like, at what point do we stop accepting everything and sort of being like, okay, like,
Well, like again, like I don't think that things are changing. I think there's always been those weirdos, and just because we are aware of them, it doesn't necessarily mean we accept them. I think that for starters, like there's no fucking chance that weird dog person's coming in my house.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's like I am aware of it, but it doesn't mean I accept it. It's the terminology in which Like, say, for example, I've seen this thing surfacing a lot lately called a depression room. It's a very viral TikTok
What is it?
trend. It's people are like, oh, today's the day I clean my depression room. And it's just a messy, lazy person's bedroom. Like, that's all it is. They've just put a title on the situation they
depressed.
have, you know. But everyone in their whole life has experienced the feeling of not wanting to do anything. You're lazy, you can't be fucked, you feel like shit, you're depressed.
Well, I feel like everything's hand fed now.
Yeah.
There's so much. Yes, there's so much opportunity and it's great, but also there's almost to an extent too much opportunity that people just think, well, like, you know, I can do it whenever I want. Like,
Well, they can. That's the thing. Like, that is kind of one of the perks of living in Australia, being the land of opportunity, because you have the opportunity to be a useless bum. You know, if you want, you can do
and
nothing.
still live and
Live
survive.
a very luscious life at
Like,
best.
I know, and like, I don't envy these people, but like, man, I know people who finish the same year as me and they go to uni full time, don't have to work. The parents support everything. It's fine. And they're out spending their money and stuff. And I'm just like, fuck me here working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish.
Yeah.
But I don't wish.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that. I would hate that. I would hate to have my parents give me everything. Not in a, like, I love them helping, and when they do, they can. But like to have just fully be supported of them. Like, you're not 6.
Yeah, I know.
You need to be an adult. Go get a job. Go do something. Like,
Yeah. And it is.
contribute.
It's only detrimental to those people who are in those circumstances. It's the effort that you put in life to be able to feel the feelings in which life is waiting for you to feel, which is pride and proudness and achievement and greatness and success. They only come through hardship and challenges and obstacles and overcoming.
100%.
If you're hand fed, I always say being born a billionaire would be a shit life. It really would. You'd have a fun existence. You'd have a fun existence, but you'd have a shit life because you never got to experience a lot of the things. You won't experience love to the full of its potential. You won't get to
You
experience.
never know. You never know if someone's loving you for your money or loving
You'll
you
never
for-
know, you know? So fuck that. I think the obstacles and challenges are great. And these stigmas that are attached to like I follow this one girl in particular on TikTok. Her name's Madeline or Madison or something. I can't remember her name, but she's basically Central C's girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, I know who's.
You know the girl I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, as soon as you said that, I was like, I think it's Central C's girl.
Yeah.
My girlfriend showed me her before.
Yeah, I like her content. I actually am almost addicted in a way where whenever there's some fucking bullshit between her and Central C, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, let's hit the drama. But her brand in itself is an anxiety-riddled, I don't have the mental capacity to be able to do what's normal, and I'm going to sit in my room. And her Instagram posts are like just her having a day of just like in her room with shit everywhere and all these things.
They're
Like,
not like.
what people don't understand is, for starters, that's a fucking brand. Like, that is like a market in which she's achieved. Like,
Such a niche.
It's that's a niche in itself. Like, that's her audience is all those people, but we've got too many words to describe things, like ADHD, for example. Like, ADHD in Australia is a disorder in which men can't focus for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But in other countries, ADHD, the same chemical compound that creates it, is looked at as a blessing in which people can focus on multiple things at once. It's not a disorder, it's a gift. But
It's the way you look at
but
it.
people are attaching themselves to these things because, I've got irritable leg syndrome, like I do. Like, people mention it to me, whereas like I constantly have to bounce my leg up and down. That's not a fucking thing, you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah, it's
real.
like-
I just move my leg. I don't need to attach myself to some kind of group or organization or
People,
entity.
I think it like also goes back to people just want to feel like accepted and part of something.
Yeah.
Like, I see people putting like autism in their bio.
Oh,
I'm like,
bro. Trust me, we're all fucking autistic. Like, there's no question. There's no
my girlfriend always tells me
question.
that. She's like, you're slightly on the spectrum. I'm like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's fine. It is what it is. But like, I'm not gonna go put that in my bio. Like, yeah, I'm autistic. Like, I have to let you know. Like, I see people and I'm just like, why do you like? Yes, it's something you can't fix. It's part of you. But like, why is that your whole identity?
Oh, but
like, I hear people.
It's further more than that, because like it's called a spectrum because it's a wide ranging
Yeah.
place in which you can become a part of anywhere along the line. Everyone is on the fucking spectrum. Some people are more autistic in terms of their ability to focus on giving everything 100%. That's a bit of an autistic trait. Some people are autistic because they don't have the cognitive ability that other people have of body movement. That some people don't have the ability to hold a conversation. You know, we're all fucking autistic. You know.
I think it's almost like a cloak. I'll explain it. Like when I see people put those cloaks on, like they have it in their bios, or that I'm ADHD, I have autism. It's like an immediate like cover. So if something goes wrong, oh, it's because I'm autistic.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
can't
It's a
take
safety
they can't
shield.
take accountability for what they're doing. Oh, I just like I cheated. Oh, sorry, ADHD.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
And I just think it's so stupid. I think it's there's such a lack of responsibility, like taking responsibility and being like, oh, do you know what? I fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have autism. I can't do that. Like that's why. And I go, no, you made a bad decision. You did something wrong. Take ownership of it, man.
Yeah.
Don't blame other shit. You know.
That's my main leading argument in the anxiety and depression. Like just depression is a real thing. Being depressed is just experiencing that feeling of depression. It doesn't mean that you're a depressed person. You're not like anxiety, like, oh, I can't do it because of my anxiety. It's like, no, you still feel the same things everyone else feels. It might be a little bit harder for you to overcome them, but it doesn't mean that you can't do them. We're all born, hopefully, with fucking 10 fingers and 10 toes and 4 limbs, you know? Like, we all are experiencing the exact same shit at life. You don't need to attach yourself to some word or some thing that was created because of the fact that medical science is mostly just creating these things to push drugs in the first place. It's the only reason that we have terms like fucking ADHD and anxiety and fucking depression is because people need to make money off it. Yeah. So don't attach yourself to these things to limit yourself from doing the same things you're capable of doing as everyone else.
Well, like the way I look at it is like back in the day, like when you're young, like I'll give a teaching perspective when kids would have autism or ADHD. It was like, oh fuck, like shit, how am I going to deal with this kid? You know, now it's like it's completely different. And I mean, it's good in a way because then those kids aren't being looked on differently. Because I definitely know when I was younger, so he has ADHD, and you're sort of like, oh, why is he acting like that?
Yeah,
he can't control it. No one understood at that time. But now, like, yes, there's more acceptance, but then there's also like it's given people a little bit of a lenient way, and because of that acceptance, people are taking it for a ride and being like, you know, when they probably don't really have that much struggle, but they're just also like, oh well, if I say this, I'm probably gonna get a lot off.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that like, oh, to be honest, that was a problem in the beginning with the fact that people created these terms, is it was the whole environment around it in the beginning, and I experienced the same thing. Why is Doxy, for example, so fucking retarded? Oh, he's got ADHD. He can't focus in class. He's got, you know, it could be anything. It could be fucking. I had a very bad ability to accept authority from people. I didn't like being told what to do, or just didn't matter how much I decided to focus in class that day. 10 minutes in, I'm kicked out. Like it didn't matter. Like, but that wasn't because I was a certain type of person. That was just because I had a little bit more struggle with listening to instructions, but I had a lot more ability to be able to make friends, you know what I mean, than other people did. So how come I'm identified as one, they're not identified?
Probably more popular. You probably had a lot more friends.
It was just,
100%.
I don't know, it was just like, there's no need to have these words. Why isn't it just these people struggle with this? So let's make it a little bit easier for them.
100%.
You know?
I agree.
Doesn't mean you accept it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Mind if I grab a water, sorry?
Yeah, grab a water. Another thing I wanted to ask you was a little bit deep, but is there anything in your life that you think you can improve on?
Yeah, 100%. I think, before I answer that, like, I think that if you're not continually improving, you're going backwards. I don't think you should ever get to a point in your life where you're like, done everything, can't improve. I think there's always some stuff you can improve on. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different from everyone. And I think that, you know, in my life personally, hell yeah, there's heaps of things I can improve on. Both relationships, socially, physically, mentally, socially, even, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I don't know, what do you think? Like, do you think that as humans, like, we should constantly be on the chase for not perfection, but like to improve?
Yeah, definitely.
The constant pursuit for something to be better.
Yeah, 100%.
It gives life
100%.
purpose.
Chris D'Elia is one of my favorite comedians, and his quote, which I wish it was mine, and I always refer back to it, is if you don't grow, you die. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And it's 100%. Everything in life, obviously, I believe, personally can be improved. In terms of you, I wanted to know, like, what is something that you're actively wanting to be improved? If you were to pick one or two or three things.
I think in my relationships, I can always be, I think, a better partner. I can always communicate better. I can always react to things better. You know, you have your days where you're exhausted and you're tired and you don't, your partner might be like, why aren't the dishes done? Or, you know, why did you say that? And you go, oh, I'm tired or whatever. You know, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. And I think that, like, you know, on your off moments, it's just, you can always be better in that regard. I think in my sport, like, it's just, you know, it's such bodybuilding is such a hard sport because you have to be so strict and so switched on all the time. And I think that, like, going into this new year, I really want to be really on point.
Yeah.
Last time, like, I didn't really, like, the first prep, I didn't really know what I was doing. It was still a learning curve for me. I didn't expect, there's a lot of things I didn't realize, but now I know, and I think I know what I need to improve on, and I know how to do it, and I think it's just got to, it's hard, but, like, you just got to do it to an extent and stuff. And there's so many things. You're putting your body under constant stress, and being on top of my health in terms of, like, just regular checkups, getting everything looked at, bloods done, everything consistently, I think, is something I need to get on top of, because it's always like, you always go, oh no, I can do that later, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, the later you push that back, though, you know, and you don't know what's going on with your health, like, the worse it gets, and can't really bodybuild if you're not healthy.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think socially too. I want to be more social. I want to catch up with my friends more. That's the thing with prep. You lose a lot of friends because, you know, not everyone's going to understand, oh, you can't come out to the club, you can't come out for a beer and pub feed.
Yeah.
You have to bring your Tupperware.
Yeah.
Can't drink. Why? You're fucking weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a weird thing. I didn't think anyone, like, there were a lot of people that reacted. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Well, and then you just automatically almost go, well, to the side. You're not in my life. I don't want any negativity, but definitely making time for not only my friends, but my partner and my family, especially too. Moving out of home, I love my family so much, and I'm very close with them, and I don't want to lose that connection. That's probably the only reason I'm still working in Marsden Park despite going to be living in Marrickville. It's because if I'm working out there, I have a reason to go out there, but it's so easy to be like, oh, it's late, it's tired. At work, I finished, and it was a 5-minute drive to my parents' house.
Yeah. Nah, good answer. I think I'd like to obviously improve every aspect of my life, but the one thing that I think that will help me in order to achieve greatness is time management, dude. If I can...
Oh, dude, I fucking hear you, man. I'm so bad at time management.
If I could hit time management with a fucking precise narrow point hammer right on the tip of that nail, then I believe that my level of greatness will exceed the potential in which I'm able to achieve at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
Time management, scheduling shit in, you know, everything in my life needs to be scheduled in. It sucks. I've always said I don't want to do it, but if I could limit the amount of time I spend with my friends to opportunities within a window. Same with my partner, same with my family, same with podcasts, my job, my training, my fitness, my health, my everything. If everything had its own schedule for it, I believe that's how the greatness will come.
100%. I think that's something I could definitely work on too. And especially, like, I've tried so many times and you do it and then something happens or you don't fit the time and you're just like, fuck it. I'm not going to fuck, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think you need to be flexible to an extent, but also you need to be strict and you need to follow it. Because at the same time, you have goals.
Yeah.
You know? Things are going to come up, but you just got to make do. You got to be like, all right, add this in.
Yeah, add it in. Yeah. All right, good answer. I like that. What's a couple things that you're most grateful for in your life?
100% my family. I would literally not be here without them.
Yeah.
Like my mum and dad. But, like, they've just, especially in the last year, man, I struggled a lot. Like, I didn't realize how hard the comp and, you know, competing is financially. And they helped me out a lot. And I, like, they helped me out with money, petrol, tolls, and I paid them all back, and I was just like, thank you so much. And I just also throughout my whole life they've been there, but last year I grew so much, and I think I would not have been able to do it without them.
Yeah, nice.
I'm very grateful for my partner. She's just my rock. She's everything. She's everything I've ever wanted in a person, but I never looked for. It's just she came along, and when it happened, it was just where have you been?
Yeah, that's bad.
And she's an amazing person, and I'm so grateful for her. And yeah. And then honestly, just life. I'm one thing growing up, I've always been scared of is death. That feeling of not waking up, and I will never, you think about it, you'll never know.
Yeah.
You die, and it's such a deep thought. And still to this day, there'll be times where I think about it and I go, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And it makes me scared. And I sit there and I'm like, oh, come on, kid, just get out of your head. And it's but I'm so grateful for this life.
Mm.
Not everything's perfect. You have your shit days, you have good days, but to be able to meet people, to breathe, to walk around, be physically healthy, live life that, God gave me the opportunity to actually come onto this earth. I'm very grateful for that. And I think, it's not everyone gets the opportunity to live a happy life, and I'm trying to make the most of it, but something I'm very grateful for. Just being alive.
Yeah.
It sounds so broad.
That's the thing I'm the most grateful for, dude. It was waking up today. It's my most. I think about it so often. I think about the fact that I get to experience this world is a gift, and that's where gratefulness comes from. And it kind of leads people, if they're aware of it or not, but it leads people into a bit of faith as well, because in order to be grateful, you must believe it was a gift.
Yeah.
And in order for it to be a gift, it must have been given, that they would go hand in hand. But every day is my biggest blessing. Can't lie, obviously family and partner and all those things I'm grateful for as well. But just being alive, bro, there is actually nothing more amazing. Your brain can't go there, because then you're entering the world of fucking the unknown,
Yeah, and I think I always, when I hear people say, I wish I was oh fuck, just kill me now, or I wish I hate life, I go why?
Yeah.
I understand people have their reasons, and things happen. I'm not taking away from that, but just take a minute, think, look around you and think fuck, I have this opportunity, I have the same 60 seconds as you do every minute, 24 hours in a day, but I guess it's at the end of the day, you make the most of what you do in those days. And if
Yeah. Nah, good answer.
if you're not living every day up to the fullest, you're wasting time.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. One of the last questions I want to ask you is, do you believe in destiny?
To an extent, I think there's always something that it's meant to happen, but I feel that meant to happen is based off what you make of it. To an extent, if I always thought I was going to be destined to be a professional soccer player, but it didn't turn out like that, and I found my true sort of calling and the thing that I love the most. And I think that also it came down to my own decisions and being okay, I need to make these choices. I need to change some things. And yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a tricky one, because I'm going to say yes. I do. I do believe in your destiny, but I feel it's not just, if you do nothing and it's going to come true. You got to work for it. You got to put what you need to do in for it. And that could be hard. That could be relatively easier, but at the same time, but I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
I believe in what I call an improvised script, meaning that the story's always there, but I'm the one writing it as I get to go, So
that's the perfect way.
Yeah, I had a shout out to Taylor, who came and did the podcast with me. She said, and she made a good point, to believe in destiny is almost like not believing in free will, because if it's always meant to be there, then you don't really have the free will in order to make your own decisions. But I think they do go hand in hand, and it's decisions that you get to make lead you to the path in which you were always meant to get to. I don't know why you can't have them both. It doesn't make. I get what she was saying, but I don't get it at the same time.
Yeah.
We are still making our own decisions, and there is, funnily enough, some science behind the fact that what happened first? Did you actually reach for the drink bottle to have a drink, or did your brain tell you were thirsty first? Like there is science trying to figure it all out, but my future is there, and I can see it, and my destiny is created every moment. 100%. I'm leading down the same path I was always meant to go down, no matter what. I do believe it. But I'm still the person deciding how to get to that point. 100%. You can have both.
Yeah.
You can have both. I have got one. Actually, I even wrote down the definition of destiny too.
Yeah.
So there's two definitions for it, and destiny is the events that will necessarily happen to a particular person or a thing. So they are going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And the second definition is the hidden power believed to control events, which is fate, which is the same definition as fate. The hidden power believed to control events. So because there's those two definitions, it kind of backs my point up again. It will necessarily happen, but it's that hidden power that was meant to get you there. And I believe that hidden power is your own decisions. That's what the hidden power really is. Your own decisions.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Well, I did mention that I had the Egypt segment.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go down this little Egypt
Let's
segment
go.
before I get to my last final question. And it's the same question I do ask everyone to wrap up the end of the podcast. But so this Egypt segment, for everyone who's listening, you heard last week's episode. And if you didn't, you know the routine already. Go down, click the link in the description down below to hear about that, because it's a fascinating discovery about basically the Book of the Dead was all about how the ancient Egyptians lived their lives. It was a recorded, written down book spread out across 200 chapters, and it basically described how they should live their life and what their life will be like in the afterlife. They use this book basically in parallel. It was like their Bible, the Book of the Dead. So if anyone wants to listen to that, please click the link in the description down below where I talked about the Book of the Dead. But this week is a special one where I'm not necessarily just talking about a discovery like I usually do. It's more of an era, and an era led by a particular leader, and that leader was Ramses II. Now, I previously spoke about his father and the discovery of his tomb. That was the tomb of Seti I. And I did mention in that segment that even though he was a great ruler, his life was quickly overseen by his son and his son's greatness. And this week I'll be talking about that son, and that's Ramses II. I'd like to say that I do believe I did say his name wrong in the past. I think I said Rameses, but that's just because I'm trying to learn all this by reading it, right? It's not until I do eventually hear the word that I'm able to make up for it. And I think Ramses II is how you do say it. And I heard about how to say Ramses because earlier this year I went to an Egypt exhibition that was set up at the Australian Museum. It was so dope. They flew in all these ancient Egyptian artifacts, from tablets to sculptures.
Oh, this was at the Powerhouse.
Yeah,
I
Dahmer.
saw about that.
It was so sick. I'm so glad I went and did that. So shout out to Jackson and Kashish for the idea to go and do that. We had a good day doing it. But yeah, they had Egyptian jewelry, and they had Egyptian education and videos and everything from bowls to sculptures and carvings and things. It was so awesome. And I really noticed when I was there, like, fuck, these Egyptians would have been decked out in gold, bro. Like,
oh, dude, yeah.
It's crazy. There was one bracelet in particular. I'm looking at it thinking, like, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars, bro. Minimum. Yeah. It's mad. They had gold cuffs, one for each finger, on top of their rings, on top of their bracelets, top of their armbands.
Dude, they were decked out.
They were decked out in gold, bro. It was mad. It was cool because they also had like mummies and shit. They had like mummified cats and crocodiles and basically anything they could find. They mummified it. And yeah. In the past, I did mention, if you're up to date, you know already, but I did talk about the whole mummification process and shit like that. But as I said, today I'm going to be talking about Rameses II. So Rameses II, who was also commonly referred to as Rameses the Great, lived from the year 1303 BC to 1213 BC. So quite a long period, 1303 to 1213. Yeah, he lived for 90 years, which wasn't that common, especially for a pharaoh back in those days. He was named after his grandfather, Rameses I, and post to his death, Rameses II, they went to name pharaohs with the same name all the way up until the 20th dynasty, and all the way up to Rameses the 11th. So he was such a great leader that they just kept naming people after him, bro. Rameses the 3rd, Rameses the 4th. And Rameses was in the 19th dynasty, so even the next generation of bloodline after him, they were like, fucking, let's just copy this cunt, you know what I mean? So pretty crazy shit.
Take that down. Take that down.
Yeah. So Ramesses II shares the title for the most powerful pharaoh in ancient Egypt during a time known as the New Kingdom, which was the most powerful period in ancient Egyptian history. Not bad to be considered the most powerful leader of the most powerful time. It's no doubt why they called him the GOAT of all the pharaohs. So Ramses II is considered to be the most fierce and mighty warrior, the pharaoh of all warrior pharaohs, as he led and orchestrated his Egyptian warriors through 15 different military battles, and he fought inside and alongside his people in every single battle. Keep in mind, this doesn't include the battle that most people have probably heard before, the infamous Battle of Kadesh, because that battle was actually considered to be a stalemate. So 15 battles outside of the Battle of Kadesh. Yeah. And I will be talking about the Battle of Kadesh in next week's segment because it's such an awesome war. It's actually the first ever recorded war in human history. It was so dope. So for everyone, please stay tuned for next week where I talk about the Battle of Kadesh a bit deeper. During his first ruling, Ramses II focused on building cities, temples, and monuments, and he also set up a new capital of Egypt in a location named Pi Ramses, and continued to move his people into other locations, destroying opposing enemy armies, conquering territories, while constantly always recording his victories through depictions and sculptures and transcripts, and his stuff was spread out all across Egypt. It was actually spread out across about 300 kilometers in distance from the Delta River all the way up to, I believe I'm saying it right, Nubia, one of the two. And what Ramses done was known to be the most monumental part of ancient Egypt ever since the pyramids. The pyramids was the first greatest thing ever done. Everything Ramses done was the second greatest thing. There's about 1,500 years difference between the pyramids and Ramses, but the stuff he did was amazing. So please, everyone, click the links in the description down below. I'll attach heaps of photos of some of the most amazing sculptures and carvings and the shit that got done underneath his leading and rulership, because it won't take long. Just it will take 2 minutes. Click the links so you can actually understand and put words into pictures. One of the things he built was called a monumental temple, which was a monument basically just near the same vicinity as his own temple. Okay. Just the monument, it was called the Ramesseum, is what he named it. That is hard to wrap your head around. The sheer size and shit like that was all created out of rock is pretty fucking crazy. Yeah. One of the babes that Ramses picked up along the way, I wrote down, was one of his queens, Queen Nefertari. Don't get me wrong, he still had all of his side pieces. He was a pharaoh, right? Yeah. He wasn't stuck to one girl. But this one girl in particular, he obviously had a lot of love for, and he built a pretty crazy monumental tomb for her for when she does die. The sheer size isn't just the only crazy part of it. It's the structural integrity that would have been taking place as they built this into the side of a mountain. It's pretty amazing. There's also links for that down in the description as well. But it's unparalleled to his own temple. He might have loved his missus, but he was still the fucking pharaoh.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT,
and he wants everyone to know that I'm the fucking number one.
Yeah, bro. And trust me, he was the man. The Abu Simbel, which was the temple that he built, again, last time, click the links in the description to see this temple. Just by looking at it from the front, there was 4 giant sculptures of himself, and each sculpture is 21 meters tall in itself. That's just looking at the front of the mountain. As you go into the mountain, you start to enter the temple. There's 8 giant 10-meter tall sculptures. Again, all of himself, with the body of Osiris as the god. There was lots of referrals to their gods and beliefs and all this shit. And the entire thing is carved from ceiling to floor in hieroglyphs and stories and shit like that.
Yeah, I think like how long it would have fucking taken.
Bro, people think they know how long these things took, but there's not a chance that it's actually how long it really took. Like, he lived for 90 years, so
90 years?
90 years is his lifespan. He ruled for 66 years.
There's no way they could have done that.
Couldn't be possible. Like, it's not enough time. Some people believe that the Great Pyramid of Giza, which I talked about in a previous episode, was only built in 27 years. I believe that took thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, you know. But the current narrative does say that this was Ramses II's tomb. So I'm only going off the current narrative. My own personal belief is that this could have been constructed years prior to his arrival or even birth. And I believe that each pharaoh that came into play did kind of steal a bunch of shit from the past and put their own name on it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
What are they going to say? Like, I'm the pharaoh. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you fucking listen to me.
Yeah. All wars, all throughout history, to be honest, wars are only written down by the people who won the wars. So I believe it's no different from the ancient Egyptian times, you know.
True.
But the current narrative does say it was all done during his ruling, so I'm happy to go with that as well. One of the coolest things about his temple in particular is that for 2 days out of the year, the sun will get to a position in which it shines directly in, illuminating the inside of his temple, which is pretty cool. It's happened a lot throughout history, throughout tombs and temples and things all over the world.
That's pretty good.
And I will go down that in a later episode. But just the fact that they had the astronomical and mathematical capability to be able to like design it is fucking crazy, dude.
Makes you wonder, like was there extra help? You know, do you know what I mean? Right?
Oh yeah, dude. Trust me, it's something that I'm excited to get at later on in the year. I'm gonna go down all the theories of the aliens and the Anunnaki and the gods and the giants and
What was
all
it?
these
What did you say?
things.
The second alien?
Anunnaki.
What's that?
Anunnaki is the first belief, is a current belief of our first alien helping hand. And some of the theories about the Anunnaki are that they basically mix their own genetic DNA with the DNA that we already had on Earth to help prolong this, to help speed up this evolutionary process.
Wow.
The theories about the Anunnaki are pretty cool. Like there is a planetary body just past Pluto. I can't remember what this planet's called, but it does come around a circle of the sun once every 3,600 years. That's how far away this planet is.
Yeah.
They believe that there is life on that planet where the Anunnaki live. And then once every 3,600 years, it gets to a position in which they're able to make their jumps to get from planet to planet.
Wow.
Not saying I'm a believer in this whole theory, but the ancient Egyptians, and I'm kind of sneak peeking it later on episodes, they have recorded hieroglyphs of this exact thing. Yeah. They've recorded this planet. You know, they knew about it before we did. They have literal descriptions of what they look like. You know, they have the giants, they have themselves, they have literally got videos, hieroglyphs of them mixing their own DNA with theirs. Like, it's pretty crazy.
It is, yeah. It's crazy to think like that. So on the topic of aliens, did you see that thing about Miami shops? The alien thing?
I did recently. It's like they believe that there's portals coming up and these aliens are coming from underground and shit. Is that what it is?
I have no idea. Apparently there was aliens at Miami.
Yeah.
And there was like all police around it.
There was, yeah. Hundreds and hundreds of police.
I don't know if it's real.
I don't know if it's real. I believe that...
It sort of came up at the time of the whole Epstein list sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, oh, fuck, there's aliens. Yeah, it was just... forget that Bill Gates was touching kids on this island.
Yeah. Forget Stephen Hawking's in his wheelchair getting sucked off.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a bit of a conspiracy guy too?
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I used to go really down the rabbit hole, but I sort of stopped. But like stuff like that, I just find it interesting.
Yeah.
I like to know the truth. Like, I like to think in my mind, I'll find the truth. I'll search through the internet and I'll find a crack. I'm not going to, but like I'd like to think that I would. But yeah.
Yeah, that's my job, dude. That's why I'm kind of diving deep into Egypt and trying to help everyone along this journey as well with me. Is just to, in the beginning, it's to start off a bit of a foundation, what Egypt is, what Egypt has, what Egypt was, and then later on get to like, all right, let's get to the itty gritty of how, when, why.
Like I just learned like the Anunnaki. Is that what it is?
The Anunnaki, yeah.
Never heard of it.
Trust me, look it up, bro, if you want to get into it. It's
I'll listen to a podcast on the train home.
Yeah, it's so interesting, the Anunnaki. Now, even though his tomb is pretty amazing, one interesting fact that I like to bring up about his tomb, Ramses II's tomb, was that in 1968, a dam was built across the Nile River. So only 50 years ago or so. That dam's called the Aswan High Dam, for anyone who knows about it. When they built this dam, before they did the maths of which the water will rise, and they realized that we're going to submerge the entire tomb if we build this dam. So what they did through modern technology is they actually cut the entire tomb into giant stone sections, and they relocated his entire tomb 65 meters higher up the Barchment. I believe I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Barchment, whatever it is, Barchment. So the entire tomb wasn't even where it used to be. With modern technology, we're able to preserve this tomb, and it's still open today for everyone who wants to be able to go check it out, which I'm so glad they did, because to lose such a fucking crazy part of history because of a fucking dam would have been terrible. I've looked up a little bit of how easy it is to get to this place, to visit the temple. It's pretty hard, don't get me wrong. Even if you go to Egypt, to take an overnight train and then to travel and then catch buses and shit, it's still an extra about 15 hours outside of going to Egypt. Like it's a fucking
Really?
trek. There is faster ways through planes and hiring of things, but like they're fucking pretty expensive. So if anyone does want to go to Egypt, I do recommend, and a lot of people do recommend to go check out this certain part of it. But yeah, it's a mission. It's a mission. But people say who do travel that it's one of the greatest places in the world to go. Check out this too.
I'd love to go. Like,
Yeah.
even just see the pyramids.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're so far away. Hey, like you're not up close.
Yeah.
Is that because it's also like preserved?
In a way, yes. It also comes down to foreign relations, you know, like they don't really like the way that the Western world are going if you want to go deep into politics and all this shit. Like they are making it hard for journalists to go there. They don't even really allow drones to fly over there to capture their own footage. If you go to certain parts, like if you take certain plane routes and shit to Egypt, they kind of take a lot of your camera recording shit off you and don't give it back. So it's a very difficult thing for people to try and navigate. I believe it will go back to normal, you know. I believe it will. It's only recently kind of taken this toll because of things that I'm going to get at later on as I go down this journey of Egypt, because of like certain people like Graham Hancock who are figuring out more and more information about the time period, and it kind of just throws out everything that the Egyptians believe today about when, about how, about all these things through his own research and other people helping him. He's like, no, yous are wrong. Not only is you wrong, but yous are lying and yous are hiding information because this is what yous have been teaching for so many years. So because of people like him who are coming and proving them wrong, they're not letting the rest of the world come in anymore to the level which they used to.
Are they right?
Graham Hancock drives a pretty strong narrative. And I'll put a link in the description for anyone who wants to watch it. But he has a Netflix show called Ancient Apocalypse where he talks about previous civilizations and how old the human race could be. Mm-hmm. And he has so much evidence to show that what they're teaching us in schools and education are not right. Okay. And they're only teaching us because they've been doing it for so long, and it kind of like makes everyone else look dumb. So everyone's doing their best to suppress this new information. It's pretty cool. It's actually very interesting shit.
Actually really awesome.
Yeah, well, that's basically a little bit about Ramses II. As I said, click the links down in the description below so you can put words into pictures. And you really, I think, will be blown away if you haven't seen it before. And even if you have seen it before, just take a second to just soak up, you know, and just let your brain drift and think of how and all that kind of shit. And as I did mention, next week I'll be talking about the Battle of Kadesh, which was led by yours truly, Ramses II. It's fucking such an interesting story. It did lead to a lot of current societal constructs that we have today when it comes to peace treaties and all these things. So I recommend everyone to stay tuned for next week. But yeah, that was this week's segment on Egypt. Yeah. Now, I have one final question I need to ask you, all right? It's the same question I ask everyone.
Yeah.
And it's more of a piece of advice in case anyone needs to hear it, because I believe that you can hear something a million times, but you might just need to hear the right words sometimes for that to sit with people. And if someone came to you for advice, mostly because they were feeling depressed because they were lost, what would you say to that person?
It's so hard. It's so easy to, say, "Oh, just be happy." But if they were sort of lost in they're doing something they don't like, I think just have the confidence to go out and do what you want. Don't think about what other people want, and don't think about, if I do this, someone's not going to like that. And, just do what you want. It's your life. You don't get long. And I think that, but also like when you do something, give it your all. I think go ahead and do what you have to go. And just like that famous Star Wars quote, do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like, I love that quote because it's just like, if you're going to start something and you're going to do something and you're going to commit to it, if you're not going to try, you're not going to give you 100%, what's the point?
Yeah.
And that goes for every aspect in life, I guess. Like, whether that be relationships or sport or even, I don't know, something small. Like, give everything 100% and, don't be afraid to try. And if you fail, that's okay. Keep going. Get back up. There's always another day. And that's the beauty about life. If you don't win one day, maybe you'll win the next one. Maybe you won't win 10 days. Maybe you won't win a month or a year. But you can always get up the next day and try again.
Good answer. And Good quote too. Shout out to Yoda, dude. The GOAT.
The go.
Yeah. Dude, I'm very appreciative of the fact that you came over and did this podcast. I appreciate all the effort you went through. I know you had a big night last night, a big travel this morning, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing another podcast again in the future.
Definitely. I would love to hop on back on this podcast, and maybe when I'm back into competing again in 2025, or maybe the end of the year when I've gotten a little bit bigger and I've like experienced the life, because I know I think I've painted the picture that this year's going to be big for me in terms of life, what I want to do and stuff, and I'd like to come back on the podcast and be like, oh, fuck it, I did it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, gang. Well, I'm excited to hear about it, bro. Definitely. By the end of the year, then, I'd like to hear about all the things you did this year. And for everyone listening, thank you very much for making it to the end of the episode. Couldn't do it without everyone just showing their interest. It really pumps me up and keeps me motivated. Until next week, until that.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty going high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt.